All right, I'm gonna just double check on YouTube. All right, and we're good. Big up, everyone. It's been a minute. I am so happy to be back. Um, I was trying to wait until Raj finished his stream, but he's taking too long, and I had people waiting. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with it. I don't think he's going to be streaming much longer, and maybe he can actually come through. Um, so today we are discussing some recent events that have been going on around the UK, and I have some Hindu brothers with us today, Lanark G, Andy G, and Life Balance G. We welcome you to the stream, and looking forward to you know getting your guys' voices out there and opinions, and what you guys feel about this whole situation and everything that comes along with it. So, yeah, Lanark, if you would like to go, or you guys just feel free. There's no order or anything. Just pop in. And it's a free conversation, um, popcorn style, I guess we can say. Oh, we lost Andy. He's back. Okay. Um, so yeah, so I guess the first thing, I would like to ask you guys, because we hear a lot of in the news articles and everything that's going on, we hear a lot of phrases that a lot of people in the West don't really understand. And there's these trigger phrases, right? So if you guys want to just kind of describe what hindutva is, what RSS is, what BJP is, like all these trigger phrases that we're hearing. If you guys want to just kind of break down,
Yeah.
like, what is hindutva? Is it an organization? Is it a formal government ideology? What do we have here?
Yep. So, Ram Ram to everyone. Ram Ram, Jai Shri Ram to everyone. And
Jai
Shalom
Shri
Yes,
Ram.
Jen. Shalom Jen. Uh,
Ram Ram.
yeah. So, Andy and Life Balance, you guys are more of, more in touch with perhaps the NRI experience. So, please go ahead.
Well, I just want to, before we start, like, I just want to say about Hindutva, right? Hindutva is like like, let's say if you're American and you have certain quality of America, right? Um, that by itself makes you American. And that does not mean that, like myself live in America. I'm a United States citizen, but I have that certain Americanness. And that is part of being in America. So Hindutva is the same thing, right? So I mean, I don't want to go into history or anything, but just to make sure that people that lived in that land, who had certain culture, who had certain thought process, are called Hindus, right? And that's what Hindutva is: being a Hindu, and the culture of Hindu, being in land of Hindu, is Hindutva. So it's not like a uh, that identity can be whatever you identify yourself as in that particular thing. So I just wanted to bring that one up before we start anything.
Yeah. On that point, Life Balanced, I would like to say that the etymology of Hindutva is Hindu plus Tattva. Hindu means, the Sanatani ideology, and Tattva. Tattva means the essence, and that's why the person who not coined this term but rather defined it in operational terms for us, uh, what he meant was that it's okay if you're not Hindu. It's okay if you follow any religion, any god, or even if you're atheist. He himself was atheist, right? Savarkar himself was atheist. So it doesn't matter what your religion is, as long as you follow the essence of the people who belong to the land. which are the Sanatanis. And what's the essence? The essence is culture, essence is arts, the essence is food, the essence is behavior, and attitude. But and by attitude, I'm sorry, I don't mean the startup culture attitude or the hustle attitude. I mean the attitude that you respect your elders, you respect your teachers, you respect your the heritage that you have from the land. Am I right? And I believe it's the same with Judaism, Jen.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're getting me confused with Raquel. I'm the Buddhist one. She's Jewish. Remember? Um, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about that, but um, what I see it being comparable to is like, could you compare it to patriotism, like American patriotism, or like UK patriotism? Like, do you think that's equivalent or no?
I see it a little differently. I see it as this attachment to your civilization identity. Like, for example, um, like for example, maybe an Iranian, right? Even though they may be far across the world, they may be of a different religion, but at some level, they see a connection to their Iranian identity, their Iranian heritage of their kings and their civilizational developments, their culture, their language, right? So I think the same thing is with Hindutva. You're like attached to the land, the culture that your ancestors developed, the the thought processes they put forward, their outlook on life. It is uniquely distinct on the subcontinent, no matter which culture. Even say, if you notice, before this recent wave of Islamization in Bangladesh, for example, a lot of women used to be culturally very Hindu, like their behavior, their perspective on life, right? Even today, many Pasmanda Muslims are very Hindu in their outlook. Like they will practice very Hindu style things in their daily life. I think that is what is the sense of Hindutva, bringing people on the subcontinent together in this civilizational identity rather than this religious identity. That's what I see it. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think that was what even the Savarkar's goal was, to bring everyone into the fold of the civilization identity of the Hindu. May not be the distinct religious identity, but that's my take. I could be wrong.
I think all three of us agree in what is just said. And the only distinction between patriotism to Hindutva is that patriotism, asserts certain things that you have, yes, certain um, ideas. But Hindutva is more about like the understanding of like your heritage. That's it. Like, like I'm an American, I'm Indian descent, but that doesn't make me any less American. I celebrate 4th of July. I respect the Constitution. I uh, also celebrate Thanksgiving. Maybe not in the same sense as a Midwesterner would celebrate, but to take part in it. So that's what is for me is Hindutva. So I think all three of us agree when it comes to that. And Jen, I guess I don't know if it makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And I think, as I've learned these types of things, a lot of people have misconceptions about what these terminologies mean. Um, so, I just like to kind of teach people what these things mean, and then also, how the media portrays them in certain ways. So how this word Hindutva has been demonized and made as something fascist and uninclusive. Like, do you guys know or have any idea why that's happened?
You want to go, Leonard, first?
No, go ahead, Andy. And by the
See,
way, there was a question. There was a question in group chat asking why there are no Muslims in the panel. The simple answer is that The topic or the title of the room is discussion of the Hindu community. Right? That's simple answer. Right? Nothing against anyone. Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
No, sir. I'm an atheist, so I mean, I'm not exactly a religious person. So I don't see it's not directly related to religion, right? The idea of Hindutva was never about making a, like, how to say, a religious Hindu state where you have running everything by the laws of religion. Like, I don't think that was what it was. The idea was just to bring the people who have lived in this land, who culturally identified with this land together, right? But the very interesting thing was, at the time of independence, the this again, I'm going a little into politics, so it's my personal opinion only. The idea was to bring India into a nanny state, a very sort of Soviet style nanny state, right? And Hindutva was not going along with that perspective. That's again what I see. And the idea was to use them as the bulwark to go against and portray them as the enemy. If that's what I see. And in recent times, for example, when I was younger, I never even knew about the concept of Hindutva. Like, no one even talked about it. No one said that it was a big boogeyman. It happened recently, maybe in 2006, 2000, like after the Gujarat thing. Then it started coming out, the big boogeyman. And I think it's a concerted effort to create a person to target, to handle other things that are happening around the world. Not specifically because Hindutva was a problem, because before that it was never a problem for most people. Most Hindus, most Muslims didn't talk about it at all. Suddenly after 2002, Hindutva was made as a big boogeyman that could be targeted and used for political benefit. At least that's what I see.
Yeah, and this is orchestrated attack from whoever, whatever the agenda is. Like, for example, there's in chat that somebody is saying, "See, I condemn any kind of atrocity committed by anybody, right? But if somebody from a certain community does something bad, I'm not going to blame the whole community for that, right? And you shouldn't. It's you. I don't condone that at all. But people sitting and saying, "Oh, somebody a Hindu did this to us." So, but that's only applied to Hindus. They will never do that for other people because it's impossible to do that to other people. But they take a lot of leniency to do that to Hindus, like as if Hindus are prone to do this and nobody else does that. A crime is a crime, regardless of created by anybody. But I think this is just a easy way of grouping the people that you don't like and somehow make them demonize them. This is the method people use to ostracize certain community, and it's been done over and over in the world. It's not something new, but unfortunately 21st century, the people that they're doing it to are Hindus, because usually generally Hindus keep to themselves, do their thing, and wherever they move to, become a productive part of that society, contribute to the society, and they don't want any problems, they don't want any issues, they don't want to ruffle any but feathers. But that has not worked out, because now suddenly somehow being you is uh, a problem. And now the only way that you can categorize everybody into that one category is call them Hindutvawadi. It doesn't matter what you believe. For them, Hindutva is just ostracize the entire community. So you don't have to think about it, because this is the very way that fascists and propagandists do their bids to somehow um, further their agenda. So unfortunately, for a long time, Hindus have not spoken up, and suddenly this has become somehow. I can tell you, like anybody who speak about what Hindu has done this, what Hindu has done that, you have to think about your own place where you live in. How many Hindus have done anything to you? That's the question you have to ask before you do anything else. Then think about Hindutva. Don't worry about Hindutva right now. Just take a simple Hindu. What has he done in your own country where you live? Then the answer is nothing. Then you don't have to worry about what Hindutva is and that and this. It's good to know about it and talk to people. Just like there are three of us, we are still saying that this is what we think Hindutva is, but nobody is like dogmatically saying this is exactly what you have to do to be in Hindutva. Like Andy himself said that he's an atheist. I am a theist. I'm still in my sadhana. I'm still seeking. Landmark told exactly what he believes it to be. So we are not like just a homogeneous group of people. We are all very different people with different ideas, but we truly believe that there are some good things to offer to the world, and it's been offering since the beginning of the time where our culture comes from. And we are proud, just like other people are proud where they come from and what they have contributed to the society. And I think we have to respect that. That's the important part.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And it's interesting to see how, one thing can get misconstrued um, across the world as something completely different, right? And I think that's a shame that that's happening. And I'm so glad that we can clear some of these things up. So
I find the chat very interesting. The comments.
oh yeah, don't the chat is they hate that don't they're such haters. Like just let them. Don't even worry about them.
No, no, I'm
Um,
I'm not I'm not affected. I'm just very fine. I find very interesting the perspectives
No,
of
but
what people have
Jen,
about Hindus.
mhm.
Jen, I think it'd be okay. Like, we can talk to each other also, and we can talk to the chat also. Is that okay
Yeah,
with you?
yeah. Of course, whatever you
Yeah.
guys, if you guys see a comment that you want to address, feel free. That's fine. But yeah, don't.
Yes. Yeah. So there are a bunch of very common talking points. And let me just say this: in the past couple of days, there has been a crash. I'm sure everyone who's watching this and who will watch this knows who ISIS is. ISIS. Everyone knows who ISIS is. From
Yeah,
India, from the South Indian states. By the way, South Indian states in India are some of the most educated, most respected, and the most well off states in terms of education, income, knowledge, whatever. Most North Indians, respect South Indians a lot. But when it comes to recruitment for ISIS, it is mostly South Indians, South Indian Muslims who were recruited for ISIS. And you know who facilitated that? It was the PFI. PFI facilitated because in its previous, I'm sorry if I'm going too deep, but stay with me here. In its
that's okay.
previous avatar,
PFI, you mean Popular Front India? Is that the name?
exactly,
Okay, okay.
exactly. In its previous avatar, it was the Students Islamic Movement of India, SIMI, SIMI as it is called in India. SIMI was found to have a terrorist arm, which was called the Indian Mujahideen. So SIMI was banned, Indian Mujahideen was of course banned, and then the leaders of SIMI and Indian Mujahideen, whoever was not put in jail and prosecuted by due process of law, actually went and formed PFI. And now in the latest avatar, what PFI did was that they figured out that now we cannot have our own peaceful arm and terrorist arm. So therefore, let us help ISIS, Lashkar-e Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, all these Islamist terrorists. Let's help them recruit to them and send them to Syria, send them to Kashmir, send them to Pakistan. You understand? It's kind of like outsourcing. We can't
Mhm.
handle the carbon credits. We cannot handle the carbon credits, so let's outsource it to third world countries. That's the approach that PFI took. Okay, and that's what's being imposed right now. So when these people talk about you know lower caste and all that, my last point, I'll end my point here, is that PFI actually had a document, an 8-page document, where they wanted to cause a division between Hindus. where they wanted to cause caste-based or class-based discrimination between Hindus, and it was an explicit agenda that they will encourage this.
And I'm sorry to disappoint you, whoever that's saying that. I'm a Dalit. I'm a proud Hindu, and I will defend my faith for whatever it is. And the problems of Hindus are Hindus their own, and they know how to deal with it. We don't need lecture from anybody. We have been dealing with our problems for thousands of years, not yesterday. We're not like 1,500 years old religion or philosophy. We've been around way too many times before anything came up. So the question for us is to focus on ourselves, to see what Hindutva is, what Hindutva is going to, what Hindutva is looking for. Hindutva wants the progression of society, everybody who lives in that society, not to be divided among ourselves based on certain ideology that we may have. It is important to note that Modi ji said that we want people to see not only their religion but also education so that they can progress in the modern world, and that's what Hindutva preaches. Hindutva preaches, not preaches, Hindutva advocates. Hindutva advocates that the living standard of every human being should be raised so that they can have respect for themselves. Um, Hindutva is the reason why after 70 years, 98% of the homes in India, including rural areas, got not only the gas to cook, so that women can focus on other things instead of looking for sticks to burn, and have restrooms so they have some self dignity, which is the other ideology could not provide for 60 years of ruling. So these are some of the things. These are like human empowerment, human development, human dignity are the things that Hindutva advocates for, and we stand behind it all the way. And I think if these are the things that looks like bad to you, women's educations, women right to land, women's right to divorce, women right to marry who they want to, gay, lesbian rights, transgender rights, transgenders to be in the society, to have uh, um, uh, a place in society, to educate themselves, to have a reservation for them. You think these are all the bad things? Then that's Hindutva. Don't be a part of it. If you think that's what you want each individual bring to the table the best they can bring, be a part of Hindutva. If you think let's focus on the worst thing humans can bring and we are going to uh, destroy societies based on that, then then you will be against Hindutva. And this is the simplest way that I can put it. Hindutva empowers you where you are. I'm a Dalit man and a gay man, and I am completely support Hindutva. Hindutva supports me. I've never had any problem with any Hindutvawadi coming and saying why you do that, why you do this. As long as I contribute to the society, I do my duty, and I understand what my dharma, because so dharma is a very, very strong point in Hindutva, which means you have your own duties, you have to perform them to the best of your ability, and that's what it advocates. And if you don't stand up for a weaker individual, that's you're against Hindutva. So be a part of it. If you truly believe that the positive thing in the world needs to be uplifted, negative things should be condemned overall, universally, not exceptionally, universally it should be condemned. If that is what you want, then you're by all means welcome to be part of Hindutva.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. That's phenomenal. I stand by you, brother. That's the reality of Hindutva. We stand by us, by each other. It does not matter how much hate. And the funny thing is, we have basically two gay people in the panel. Like LGBT.
Yeah.
Wait, wait.
One is an
That's
Yeah,
atheist, one
weird.
is Hindu.
I
I'm
was
also
wondering.
atheist. That's weird. I'm
That's
also
weird.
Yeah,
We
atheist.
have two atheists, two gays. One theist.
And I'm the only Buddhist female straight
There
person
you
on
go.
the panel.
And
So there's now that's a wonderful thing. So I have a comment on the screen. It says, BJP, RSS, stop lynching Dalits, Christians, Sikhs, Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, and LGBTQ. And then
right.
the other one was, you guys know our friend Jat. He says Brahmins consider Dalits to be their slaves. Can you guys maybe just give a
Yes,
little reality
yes,
to
yes,
those?
yes. Let me
How are
educate
your
Bhai.
rights as a LGBT person in India? How are your rights? How are your human rights?
Jhat, let me just enlighten Jhat Bhai. Ved Vyas ji come from our Dalit community. Valmiki ji comes from our Dalit community. Nobody in India disrespects them. Nobody, right? So there are many sons and sadhus. The Mirabai's teacher was a chammar. He was a cobbler. People respect him. So all the propaganda you want to do, be adharmi, right? The Hindutva supports all of these people. Hindutva wants a Dalit like me to have a place. I can quote you Sanskrit verses where I am allowed to do what I want to do, right? A Dalit, of course, that there is no word Dalit in any Sanskrit shastras, but there's, you can keep playing these games, but it's not going to help neither your caste nor my caste. If you truly believe there is that oppression happening, you should join forces with the good people of any side who is supporting to stop this one instead of sitting here and making comments about it. What have you done? India lives in rural area. 70% of the Indians are poor, uneducated, and don't have resources. How can you help them? Can we have a positive conversation here? That's what Hindutva preaches, because Hindutva wants each individual to have right to live, right to dignity, right to education. Can we somehow be part of this? If it doesn't matter, take out the Hindutva of this equation. Would you be with me if I tell you I want to support the rural Indians who are poor to get education, send their children to education? Whoever that you think is being oppressed, can we go and help them? Are you going to be with me? If you say yes, then I'm completely agree with whatever you're going to say. But if you're just going to sit here and make comments because you can, you learn some English and you learn something about oppression, I think that's a problem, right? I'm an LGBT. We know when I was in India, I was 7 or 8 years old. I went to a wedding. I came back home and I told my grandmother, and she asked me how was the wedding, and I said, oh, it was beautiful. But in my wedding, I don't see another woman, a woman next to me, but a man next to me. And she smiled and she said, well, if that's who you are, then that's who you are. And I grew up in India until I was 20 years old, and I brought my partner to India, and he lived in India with me for 6 months with my family. None of them had a problem, and he's from Belgium. Okay, so are there problems in every society? Yes. Are there people that take certain stands that is not so good to the society? Yes. But that's what we are saying. Instead of being against something, stand up for something. Support something that is good, all that is good. But if you're going to go and keep saying this happens, but you are not doing anything, you're not contributing anything to the society. Hindutva says contribute, contribute, do your dharma, do your duty. It's your duty, your swadharma, to do whatever you can to make it better, not to sit there on the sideline and throw eggs at people. So that's the problem. So my whole entire side of my mother's side of the family are Christians. When I was young, I used to go in front of the church, the temples, and preach that your gods have eyes but they don't see, ears but they don't hear. Come to the real God, you will be saved. It happens even today. Show me another country in the world that you can go in front of the religious place of the other traditions, and you can say the things that they say to Hindus. It doesn't happen. So please have a little bit of respect to people who have given that generosity towards you, whoever you are. So you can criticize all you want, and we all criticize. There is no problem, but you have to be very even-minded about it and understand nuances about it. So that's a wrong thing what you do, and I hope today you learned something, uh, which will make you think what you're saying before you say it, right? I can go from Genesis to Revelation and quote you Bible because I used to preach it. So please don't do that.
Oh wow, thank you so much.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, let's look at it like in terms of like generally Hindutva is defined from the perspective of one particular community. Let's be honest about that, right? The Christian community, the Jewish community, the Zoroastrian community, the Buddhist community in India generally do not have a problem with Hindutva. It's very interesting that the epicenter of Hindutva in India is in the state of Maharashtra. It is also in the same state where the Ambedkarite movement also exists. But if you notice, within that state, there is not much conflict between the two groups because they exist at the same time. They're not like they're not fighting non-stop, right? While this narrative is being pushed specifically by, so I didn't want to bring it religion, but I think this tends to be the narrative how it comes out, right? Islamists specifically have a problem with Hindutva because they see their fellow Muslims sacrificing their religious identity for an Indian identity. So basically, what happens is what do uh, bigots and power hungry monsters want? They want to control the population, right? Keep them poor, keep them like enslaved to your ideology, and don't let them progress. Don't give them a way out of a civilizational construct that can bring everyone up together. What has happened recently is Hindutva has become an alternative, a significant alternative for basically Muslims who are not, who generally are not too, how to say, fundamentalist. They're a little bit more progressive. They like to meet and have positive relations with fellow Hindus, fellow Buddhists, right? It's an alternative because then that there's no conflict. You don't have to hate each other all the time. So, and the added benefit is that they're getting positions of power in that hierarchy, right? So these guys are losing their power over this population. So now, oh God, we got to do something. We got to use political arguments. We got to use these bigoted arguments to take away that population or keep the population terrified, right? And that is what I see happening specifically. Because if you notice very interestingly, the Hindutva resurgence in India has been the best time for Muslims in India, especially. They've been getting more scholarships. They've been having access to more like loans and gas and all of basic things that most human beings want. Right. At the same time, what Hindutva is doing is taking away power from any fundamentalist preachers who are preaching hate in the mind of the Muslim community to keep them separated from their Hindu brothers or their Sikh brothers or their Buddhist brothers, right? That hate is being slowly taken away from them, and it's like a poison pill. When you take away, then when you provide this alternative, these guys are like throwing in like this like random bogeys to make the Muslim fear his existence in India. While there may be some groups who are anti-Muslim, which is definitely a possibility. This happens in all conflict. But a majority of Hindutva people are very pro bringing people together rather than keeping them separate. At least I've observed that. There may be some controversy, but I observe that. I'm not talking about religion specifically. I'm talking about community relations, like bringing people together. More what's the word? Uh, a more holistic approach to the problem rather than a religious one. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Andy G. This is interesting, you guys. I'm glad that this is going out. So we have another question from uh, Jat G. Ask them, why do you have
This is a very easy
anti-conversion
answer.
laws, which are
This is a very easy
specifically
answer, actually. The
okay?
easy answer to this is very simple. The first wave of conversions were not Dalits. They converted Brahmins, by the way. The first wave of Muslim conversions or Christian conversions were Brahmins. They got converted first. Interestingly, the Muslim community in India has a hierarchical caste system of their own. So, for example, the Ashrafs they control all the positions of power. They literally are Pashmanda Muslims in India fighting for power. They're not given any voice in their power hierarchy. They cannot run any organizations. If you look at the AIPL, the All India Personal Law Board, everyone's an Ashraf. Not one of them is from the other caste communities or in Islam, right? They have not dealt with this because they have for many years they've been allowed to run that hierarchy, right? Now the BJP is coming in break, or BJP or the Hindutva, whatever section you want to say, is coming breaking that hierarchy. So like I said earlier, right, this power structure is being broken. The power they inflicted on their fellow Muslims who are of so-called lower caste, right, and were not allowed to be in decision-making structures, being broken because the alliances are unique. It's a new fluid kind of alliance system. It's not like, oh, I hate you. It's not a black and white thing that we see in the past. It is now, okay, you need help, we will provide help, work within our civilizational structure. And they don't like this specifically, and that's why they bring up this anti-conversion law. The law is specifically not to do with not conversion. So for example, you can convert, and that's not a problem, but you can't be allured into conversion. Like for example, imagine I came to you, Jen, and I said, Jen, you can convert to my religion not because you feel strongly in my religious beliefs, but because I'm going to give you a lot of money and it's going to make your life a little better. That is not a very nice way to convert someone. It's just basically you're taking advantage of their weakness at some point of time, and that is not a nice. The point is, it is
And
actually, ironically, it's illegal in Christianity as well. Like in Christianity, they say you
I
should not
can,
convert.
yeah,
Sure, sure, go on.
and I can add a couple of things about Christianity. So, there are Christian churches just like the black churches and the white churches for obvious reason. There are caste churches in India. The Christians did not, eradicate the caste in their thing either. And
So are there mosques in India by caste?
there are some, not
And you
all over
guys,
the
can you
places.
just clear something up for me? Is Jat a caste?
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
very much,
Yes,
very
It's a very
much.
clear caste. Yeah.
yes,
If you're proud of being a
Thank
Jat,
you.
you're basically proud of your caste specifically. Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're
and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is, and that's
so
the
So
funny
being
thing.
proud of being a Jat would be practicing casteism.
yeah,
Yes.
let me
Absolutely,
tell you this.
absolutely.
Let me tell
Wow.
you this that
Okay.
in India, people who judge supremacy is a thing. Judge supremacy is a thing in India and in Pakistan. Uh, Judge, quote unquote, says Jat is a tribe. No, Jat is not a tribe. Jat is a caste. Jat is a caste that at least in India, they the leftist historians try to make Jats believe that they were some kind of Buddhists or Jains in the medieval era, but in the last 500 years, at least of the last 5 centuries, they have considered themselves a caste. They've acted like caste, and they have discriminated against others like caste. Uh, and in Pakistan, at least, there's no reason for them to believe that that even a tribe, Islam is ummah, right? Islam is ummah. Where is the space for a tribe in ummah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are united. Everyone is the same, race, creed, color, whatever. But how come Jats in Punjab try to reign supreme? How come Jats big putt is a thing in itself?
So
How
it's
come
very
they?
interesting. You can
That's
talk
the
about the way they treat the Biharis in Punjab. That'll be very interesting to talk about how Jats treat Biharis in Punjab specifically.
Or how Jats treat Balochis in Pakistan? How
Right, right.
Jats treat anyone else in Pakistan or in India? Jat supremacy is Jat supremacies in itself become from a problematic issue. But then again, let's not fall prey to these trolls and
no, no.
here.
It's
Absolutely.
good that we show that the hypocrisy of these people. You
Sure,
come
sure.
and you ask about caste system, and you're the big. There is three people. None of us are worried about our caste, and we're sitting together. We're wanting all of us work together. See, this is important. I'm glad you did this, Jen. I want them to understand these are the people who come and attack us are the people who ask for caste system because he's so proud to be Jat. None of us are putting our caste on ourselves and saying we are proud. We want everybody to be equal. It doesn't matter gender, caste, creed, whatever. We want people to have human dignity, human empowerment. But you don't oppress other people. And this person is coming and saying that we oppress, and he's the first one to say, I'm just, I'm proud, I'm a tribe. Whatever he wants to say, he can go on and on and on about it. That is okay. But when we are saying that there are two gay guys are sitting and asking him these questions, he has nothing to say, so he's just throwing, what about this? What about it? What about it? Why don't you ask questions that we can work together to do something if you truly want to do that? Unless you're so filled with hate that the only thing that stands in front of you is your burning fire that you cannot somehow get rid of, because you cannot understand how to positively channel that so that you can do something good in the world. I'm sorry, my brother, it's not going to work for you, even in your own personal life. So please, just be mindful of that. That's all I want to say. And I don't hold anything against you, brother. I hope whatever that you're suffering within yourself, I hope you find an answer, a peaceful answer one day. But it's very wrong to accuse people without knowing them, because remember, when you point finger at somebody, there are three fingers pointing at you. So I just wanted to say that to you.
Yeah. Jen, I mean, let's come back from the chat itself, and let's come back from the distractions. Um,
Yeah,
Please feel free to fire
for
your
sure.
questions at us. Like, you wanted to talk to Hindus. Here we are. None of us are practicing Hindus. We're all atheists. I am. I would just like to define myself, and if you have any
Mhm.
questions on my definition of myself, I'm an atheist Hindu. I don't believe in God, but I do understand that dharma of Hinduism itself is a sight to behold, is a philosophy at par with any other philosophies in the world. So please
Uh,
feel free. Yeah.
Lamarchi, I'm a very proud idol worshiper. So I'm a very practicing idol worshiper. So I'm very proud of it.
Big up,
As you
man.
should be. As you
Yes,
should be.
for sure, for sure. So I think we got through the hindutva definition, which kind of brought us around the world. But that was good, guys. So I think that I'm definitely seeing things from a different perspective. I have I not known too much about these words until all the news lately. So can you guys maybe explain now? Let's say RSS. So RSS is an political um, party in India, or a more NGO type. What exactly is RSS, and are there even offices in UK, or I don't? What is this?
And is it okay if I go first?
No, no, I was we hoping you'd go first.
Yeah. So yeah. So RSS. Let's talk about the founder of RSS. So the founder of RSS was a freedom fighter, and in the 1920s, he put up such a strong fight against the British that he was sent to. Um, I don't even know, Jen. You can tell me if you've heard of such a punishment. Kala Pani. Uh, Literally, it translates to black water. He was sent to a Kala Pani punishment that said that you are going to be in permanent isolation. Permanent isolation. He put up with many years of that, and then because he wanted to get back to the mainland, he put forward a petition to come back. And once he did come back, now that his political means did not work, he engaged in somewhat violent means, you know, subversion of the active government. Now, he
So who
himself,
is it? So this is, what's this guy's name again? I'm sorry.
Savarkar,
Savakar.
Savarkar,
Okay, Savakar. Right.
Savarkar, right? And he is the person. So I could not have not named him. Savarkar. He is the one who did not coin, but he adopted the term Hindutva. The term Hindutva had already been coined by a Bengali intellectual. He adopted that name, and what the definition he gave to Hindutva is Hindu plus Tva. I have already talked about this. I'll skip that part. So when he said that India needs to be Hindutva, that he was working with the definition of India as Pakistan, current day Pakistan plus current day India plus current day Bangladesh. What he meant is that we all live by the same value system. He did not mean religion. He did not mean language or anything like that. He meant a value system that we all value our elders. There are three things. I mean, Andy and Life Balance, you're perhaps better Hindus than me. Uh, but the three things that Hindu value system values: number one, respect for your elders. Remember, religions like Islam, and here I may be going off script, but Jen, correct me, bring me back if I'm going off script. But in Islam, it says if your father or your mother insults Muhammad or Islam, you can do whatever you want, right? You are supposed to do something about them. But in Hinduism, it says your father and your mother are the greatest gods you will ever know. If it was not for them, you would not be alive. So even if your father and mother insult gods, prophets, or whoever, doesn't matter, right? Over. That's the first value of Hinduism. Second value of Hinduism is that you're supposed to value your guru, your teacher. If you are an engineer today, if it was not for your professors and your teachers, you would not be an engineer. You would not be making the money you're making today. Number three, you're supposed to value your culture. That's so that's Pitrin, Gururin, and Devrin. And after that comes the rest of the world. Everything else, your prophets, your holy books, everything comes after that. Nothing matters beyond that. Yeah. So Savarkar preached this. He said you can follow these three value system, this value system, without having to without having to change your religion. And let me look at the comments now. Does any Muslim think that does any Christian think, does any Jew think, does any Buddhist think that this value system is wrong? Is anything wrong with this value system? No. This is universal value system. A Hindu sitting in India, a Christian sitting in Vatican City, and a Native American sitting in pre-Columbus America can follow this same value system, and his life would be better for it. Okay, so very quickly coming back to Hindutva. He said that use this value system and make Bharat, make India a better place without any conversion. I'm not going to ask you to convert to Hinduism. I'm not going to ask you to let go of any of your religious practices. Just follow this value system. And this was too much. This was too much, and this till date is too much. Yeah, that's Hindutva.
So why was he charged in saying that he killed Gandhiji? Why? What was going on with that?
He didn't kill Gandhiji.
Or
That was both. No, that was another person who killed Gandhiji.
That was Godse.
Godse.
Yeah. Savarkar did that.
There's no direct evidence of him connected to killing Gandhiji. I mean, that's what they say, but there's no evidence of it. Like you got to put people in jail. You got to convict someone of evidence, right, Jen? See, I cannot randomly say what do you call it? Bin Laden was killed by some random person in India, right? Specifically, the evidence points to an operation done by Obama, right? There's evidence for that.
So I was just looking at the Wikipedia, and it says in 1948, Savarkar was charged as a co-conspirator in the assassination of Mahatma Gandhiji, and However, he was acquitted by the court for lack of evidence.
Exactly.
Right, right.
See,
Huh.
you'd understand very interestingly. At that point of time, I forgot the name of the organization that was fighting the Congress at that point of time. They were
Andy, one sec.
sorry, yeah.
Jen,
Yeah, yeah.
Jews are, when it comes to 9/11, people say CIA did 9/11, or some may say that, Jews did 9/11. You must have heard those things, right?
Yeah,
Those
yeah, yeah.
rumors.
They blame him for everything. Yeah.
You can charge anyone for anything. The court, as long as it's a democracy, as long as the country is a democracy, anyone can be charged for anything. I can charge you, Jen Wallace, Jen Wallace, for 9/11 if I want,
I did
right?
9/11.
And I can put it in Wikipedia. The Jen Wallace was charged for 9/11. Yeah, that's all it is.
No,
Gotcha.
but let's tackle the deeper problem with why the RSS is seen negatively. Like, um, I was just thinking of this. You see, the interesting thing is that there were different perspectives the way India should go after 1947. Right? You can understand we are a very diverse country, and everyone has their own ideas of how the country should go forward. At the same time, we were literally bereft of all literature. Right? Like we had not written literature and theories about how we will run our country for a long time. Right? Suddenly we got that freedom. So lots of different kinds of people were putting forward ideas based on what they were seeing in the world. So when our constitution was created, it was created a certain way. It was taken from some ideas from here, some ideas from there, incorporate some local ideas, and create a new constitution. At the same time, there were other people who were disagreeing with the constitution creators or the founders of the country in different other ways. They're like, okay, this is the perspective we don't have, or we have a different perspective on the world. So for example, you take even in Japan, right? The two groups fighting for power, the Shinto and the Buddhists, right? If you heard of the Meiji Restoration and how the conflict there arose when they were trying to bring forward a certain cultural revolution. So we see such conflicts in every society trying to deal with their contradictions. So over time in India, the RSS has gone through a journey of sorts. So even in 1947, what they are today is very different. So if you compare what the current RSS thinks specifically, it has uniquely different ideas to what the older RSS thinks. And this is part of human society. We grow, we learn from our knowledge. We learn as times change. We get new information and we change. I think that should be allowed for growth. And a lot of the criticism of the RSS is of things that they thought much uh, ahead of time, like in the 1940s. They thought what they thought then when they were still forming their ideas of what they thought of the future of the nation. We cannot expect the people of today to be following that stuff as well. So I think that's another those so-called red herrings that are used regularly when talking with RSS, in my opinion at least.
All right, thank you. So, let me see. So let's try to, because I think we cleared up a lot of those terms. Let's try to get into what's going on in the UK. And then the chat is dying for me to open up the panel. I don't know if you want to have a couple people on. They would be from the UK. Not necessarily sure there's individual stances on things. But we can do that if you want, or we could just do that another
No, I
time.
don't mind talking to anyone if they're respectful. That's all.
Okay.
No, Jen, I would object to that.
Okay.
Merely because of the nature of comments I'm seeing, none of them are reasonable people.
Okay. Um, well, let me see. Life balanced. What do you think?
Sorry, I was gone for a second, so I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. The chat is dying for me to open up the panel. What about one person at a time? And if they're unreasonable or whatever, yeah, I'd like to at least have Raj on. He's from the UK. He's a Sikh brother. Um, he just kind of did a show about this before. So it's up to you guys. What or What do you think?
Well, we should have like ground rules that you cannot just come and just do whataboutery, because we can do whataboutery too. I can do much better
Yeah.
whataboutery
No, if
than
it's
they do. They
unproductive,
have
I
a
could.
question, I have an answer. You can't just dismiss me because you don't like me. We can have a conversation, but if you're just coming here to do your propaganda, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. I could just chuck people off the stream. Like I have exit button. I could just click. All right, I'm gonna send it to one person, and then we. But yeah, if you guys would like to, I mean, we've seen tons of videos over the last couple of days about what's going on in the UK. Um, what are your guys' thoughts, and does anybody have a definite starting point of the conflict?
I cannot say certain. I'm not in the UK.
I'm not certain. I'm not in the UK, so.
No, but okay. So I'm not in India, but we have seen this in India before. All of these operations, wait, does this guy have a gun in his display picture?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Sasri Kalji to my Indian brothers out there. Hey, there.
You guys, this
Why do
is
you have a
Rod.
gun in your picture?
Sat Sri Akal.
Because it's the UK and we got freedom of expression, right?
No, but what's the purpose of having him? Like, what's the symbolism?
The gun is actually Maharaja
Simple.
Dalip Singh's, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's.
But that's a
Angel,
thing, right?
it was a gun that I was allowed to hold. So, because I'm an artist as well, so I was allowed to hold it. So I've put it in my picture in it. It's the ancient shotgun from
No,
India.
what's the symbolism? What are you trying to convey here?
I'm trying to kind of show to people I'm a peaceful person, but don't mess with me, innit?
How are you a peaceful person if you have a gun in your hand?
Well, the gun's not been. I've not used it, have I?
No, Monarch, it was a
No, let's not
historical,
get caught up in the kind of like the gun situation, because I think we're going to get distracted.
No, it's a violent symbolism. It's it's
Yeah,
quite
but
violent.
I'm not. All right, so Lanak, I'm not a pacifist. I'm not coming here saying I'm a pacifist. I believe violence has its place sometimes, right? Like
So
if you have to
what do
stop
you
a
think
rape,
of
if you have to
Khalistan?
stop,
What's
if
your
you have
thought
to,
about Khalistan?
but what's that?
What are your thoughts around Khalistan?
oh
All
boy.
right, okay. So
Let's
are you
talk
going to be able
about
to have?
the
Are you
left.
going to be able to have a sensible conversation about Khalistan and
No,
not
but
say that I'm
if
antagonizing
there's a
you?
Sikh, if you're here representing Sikhism and you have a gun in your hand, my obvious
No,
question
I'm
is,
not here representing Sikhism. You need to put things into perspective. The same way the Hindus, the bad
who are
Hindus,
you
or
to
Hindus that are
represent?
violent that represent Hindus, I don't represent
Who are
all
you?
Sikhs, right?
No, we are cowards, right?
No,
The
I don't
chat has
think Hindus
already.
are cowards. When did I say that?
Yeah, we are cowards.
When did I say that?
Who are you here representing then?
I'm
Oh,
representing
he doesn't.
myself.
He doesn't think like that.
I represent myself. Anyone that knows me will testify that I'm probably one of the most anti-Pakistani guy in the UK, right? I'm known as an Islamophobe, but I don't think I am. I believe I'm quite fair in it. I call out bad behavior where it is. And if you saw my show earlier, I said the Hindu community in the UK is a model citizen. I said that, didn't I? Did I not say that, Jen? I
Yeah,
said they
yeah.
have the
So you
highest
guys, right?
education, highest wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 21 people that have got are billionaires or millionaires, 90% of them are actually Hindus. So, and in terms of top government jobs in the UK, they are
In
top, right?
education,
So in education, so I'm giving the Hindus in the UK the benefit of the doubt, because in my experience with the Hindus, I've had no problems, but I've had plenty of problems with Pakistanis, right? I've had my turban knocked off. My cousin's been groomed in the
Yeah,
northern
Raj, I'm
towns.
sorry.
So,
Raj, I'm
let me
sorry. I made a fool of myself.
one minute. So
I
my
made a fool
cousin,
of myself. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I made
so
a fool of
my
myself. I'm
cousin,
sorry.
in the north of England was groomed by Pakistani gangs. Uh, I've protested against it. I've been to Speaker's Corner. I've been threatened by Islamists. I've been nearly beaten up by them. So, and no one can say that I'm the friend of Muslims or Pakistanis, right? But I'm also trying to be fair. And so anything I say, I hope both sides can take on board what I'm saying, right? Because in the UK, the Hindus are not known for causing trouble. In fact, there's 1 million Hindus, and I tried to Google trying to find some bad stories about Hindus. There's none apart from the one that's coming on now. But unfortunately, with Pakistanis, they have a terrible reputation in the north of England, not only for grooming, not only for extremism. 3 out of the 4 7/7 bombers were from Pakistan. not only for kind of violence, drug trade, prison rates, low education, and a lot of things that are problematic in the Pakistani community, right? And I agree with you that when it comes to the UK, that's true. But India is a different country. So I'm going to separate the two in my head, right? In India, I do believe there's a problem with the BJP and the RSS. I do believe that, you know, in India, there's a rising supremacist movement. I think it's to do with, like, you know, the Islamic empire. Obviously, the Sikhs hate the Mughals. You know, I spit on Aurangzeb's grave. And if I ever saw Aurangzeb's grave, I'd piss on it as on and dig him up and I'll freaking shit in his mouth, right? So I believe Hindus have been persecuted in India. I believe Hinduism has been maligned in India. I believe that the Mughals and then the British have been pretty harsh towards Hindus. Millions, up to 100 million Hindus were massacred over 800 years, which no one knows about. And I tried to talk about that in Speaker's Corner. But it doesn't mean the RSS and the BJP are right. Yeah, I can agree on a lot of things that the Hindu people have suffered. My ancestors were Hindus at one point. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born in a Hindu family. So I know the history of the persecution of the Sikhs. And I understand that when it comes to Mughal rule, the Hindus were treated as second-class citizens, right? So now 140 million jacked with the big butter, Bhaskar there, you know it to be true. And some of them were your ancestors, right? You know, before you become a Pakistani, you was an Indian, right? You do get that, don't you? So I don't hate India. I love my Hindu brothers and sisters. My history, India is based up around the Hindu culture, Hindu history. I know quite a lot about it. But the point is, I'm not a Hindu, right? I'm a Sikh. And before I've said all this, now let me just give you the bad side, right? I am a Khalistani. I would call myself more of a Punjab separatist because I don't believe in the kind of rule of religion kind of governing a country. So I'm more of a secularist democracy. So I would actually prefer I would prefer Haryana to go back to Punjab, and the Hindus and the Sikhs and Christians and Muslims live under a secular democracy called Punjab.
Haryana is not a Sikh country, boss.
No, what I say? I said I'm a Punjab separatist.
Why? What does
Because
Punjab have? What is Khalistan about?
But this is not about. We can have this conversation in the future. Lanik, we can have this conversation. This very deep conversation.
Talk specifically about this, right, Jen?
Can we not make it a Khalistan room, please?
Yeah, exactly. Jen,
Yeah,
I was talking
Yeah, but
specifically
let's not make it about Khalistan. I'm talking about the Hindus and the situation in
I think if
Leicester.
anyone can have a civil conversation about, you know, this Raj would be the guy. Like,
Yeah, but not today.
No. Jen, I'm not
No,
here
I
to
know.
participate in a separatist room.
yeah, okay, all right, I'm
All
sorry.
right, so you're a big baby then.
No. See,
No, why are you chucking your dummy out with the bathwater? Because
Haryana is not a
no. We
country.
should be able to have
It
as
has nothing to do
adults,
with
right?
Sikhism, has nothing to do with
We
Punjab.
should be able to have
Haryana
as
has nothing to do
adults.
with Punjab. Haryana has its own
Dude, we
culture.
should be
If
able
you
to have
deny
a
Haryana
conversation
its own
as
culture,
adults.
No.
Dude.
Raj, if
Alright, you guys-
Haryana has its own culture, it has got nothing to do with Punjab. Haryanavi language and Haryanavi culture has nothing to do with Punjab or Punjabi
Okay,
culture.
cool. I'm understanding your point of
Jen,
view, right?
I'm not here to participate in this kind of room. Please, Jen, I already warned you. I will not be a part
Raji, I have a
of any
question for
room.
you.
That's a
Raji,
part of
I have a question for you. If the people who want to-
life.
One minute, Lanak.
Hang on, life. We are not here to be part of any room that supports any kind of separatism.
Oh, shut your mouth, you little pussy.
Raj,
What's wrong with you?
No,
No,
Raji.
don't do that.
Raji,
Don't
minute.
do
No.
that.
Yeah. You can
I
call
agree
all
with
kinds
Jana.
of bad
I
names.
don't support,
No, I'm
all
calling
kinds of foul
you.
language.
I'm calling you, dude. Like, can you not just have
You
a
can
civil
call all
conversation?
kinds of foul language.
No, but
I'm not.
Please.
hold on. We listen to
I'm just
you.
talking to Jen.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
Lanak,
Jen. Jen, I will leave this room. I will never participate again.
Yeah, I can
Oh my
stay here
goodness.
because
So are
this
you
is-
saying
this
to
is-
me, you
Raj,
can't have a conversation with someone with an opposing view without
not an
spazzing
opposing
out?
view. This
No,
is a-
because
view. This is a terrorist view. Khalistanis are terrorists. They have killed people in India. They have caused mass murders in India. Khalistanis are not opposing points
have
of
the
view.
Indian government
Don't
against
tell me
Sikhs. But
opposing
can we
point of
go
view.
on
Indian
to?
government, you need to go
They
and talk
are
to them.
Khalistanis are terrorists.
You don't need
I don't know
to.
what to do.
You don't call the entire 800 million people hold responsible because Indian government did something.
Did I say
to them.
that?
I'm from Karnataka. I have nothing to do with the Sikhs.
But did I say that, life balance?
Khalistanis are terrorists. Jen,
Wait,
please step
Did
in.
I
And please
say
control.
that all
it
the
doesn't
Indians are
matter because you
responsible?
included in me when
Okay.
you said that because of this I want that. No, I did not do that to you. There are many Sardarjis in my state who do a very good job and they're very wealthy. They enjoy the privileges of Karnataka. So no, they're my
Okay,
brothers.
so can
And they
you
will
have
always be
a
my brothers.
conversation
I will
with
never
someone
say
with
they're
No,
intelligence?
we
against
cannot have a
you.
conversation with a
And they
terrorist
will never
supporter.
ever.
Well, then
He
you're a
said
pussy.
these are
फुद्दू फुद्दू हैगा हाँ
Yeah.
फुद्दी ना हैगा हाँ
and
तू
all
गल भी
bad
नहीं
All
कर
words.
right.
सकता मेरे साथ
It
फुद्दू
was all foul language. I
Yes.
don't
Okay,
care.
Yes.
you
Yes.
guys, I
Yes. Yes.
can't do.
Yes.
All right.
Jen,
Yeah.
please step in and
Hold on
control the
one
situation.
second. I don't know what to
We
do.
cannot have that
I'm
conversation.
sorry. I don't know. This is like, you guys. I thought. Okay.
No, we
It didn't
cannot have
work
that
out.
conversation, Genji, because the whole
What
point
about
about it,
just about the UK? Just I mean that it doesn't.
So
no,
can I say something? Can I say something? Let me clarify this, Jen. It's very simple. I do understand where Raj is coming from. He has a very different perspective on the situation in the UK. He has a different perspective on the way he sees India. But you have to understand, he's not an Indian citizen. He cannot make statements like, "I want a separate Haryana." Like, you cannot make such a statement. You're not a citizen. You're not a signatory to the citizens agreement that we have signed when he wrote our constitution. He's not. He just is not. He cannot say, "I'm sitting here in the UK and I'm going to tell you what Punjab and Haryana should do." I'm sorry, you're not. You've not lived in the country in India and participated in our democracy. My parents, Life Balance parents, Lanark's parents have participated in the system. They have literally built the country with their blood, sweat, and tears. Forget about the political party involved that did it. We all contributed to the country, so we get a say in what happens to our country. A person from outside of the country cannot say that I want this, I want that. I understand he appreciates some Hindus. He says Hindus are polite, all that stuff, and that's lovely and sweet. But you cannot say politically you want to cut this particular part of India away.
Yeah, no,
You can't. You're
it's
not.
not, no, Andy. It's just not that he's acknowledging
No, let me,
some good things about Hinduism. He's himself being very profane because
listen,
the
listen.
people.
We have to clarify this very simple, without emotion. It's a very simple concept, Jen.
Mhm.
The people of India have agreed to a system where everyone is citizen of every other area in India, right? So a
Mhm.
Punjabi in Punjab can come and live in Karnataka and enjoy the fruits of Karnataka hospitality. From Karnataka can travel to Punjab, to Amritsar, and participate in the hospitality of the Punjabi. Right? I can marry a Punjabi can marry a Bengali can marry a Assamese, right? The
Mhm.
idea is to build a connected system. Now, if you're going to say, I'm going
I
to divide the country, you're
So,
basically
Jen,
saying
I'm
that
sorry.
I
I
cannot
know.
Hang
I
on,
live.
know.
hang on,
I
hang
just
on.
want to
I'll
give him
leave this. I'll leave this chat.
1 minute to
I'm
say.
leaving. I'm leaving. Jen,
Oh,
if you
Lanik.
want to have Raj here, please have him. I
Raj,
cannot
can
be.
you?
I cannot share stage with him.
Okay,
All right.
can you
So
give him 30 seconds? Can you give him
no,
30
not
seconds?
Jen, please. I've known you for a long
No,
time,
I
Jen.
know this is
Jen,
and
such a
you
you
crazy
cannot
look,
tolerate
situation I'm
Alchemy.
being put
I'm not
in.
supporting
Like
Jen,
Alchemy.
Jen,
I'm
I
Jen.
feel
I live
terrible.
in the
I'm leaving.
UK, right? I have
I
family in
know.
Leicester, right?
I
I actually
know.
have
I know.
family in
Oh my
Leicester.
God.
My
Yeah.
sister lives there, right? I've lived in the UK my whole life. They're talking about you can't talk about India, but they're talking about UK, right? We're talking about Leicester in the UK. They don't live here. I've been in Leicester. I've stayed there for 6 7 months. My sister lives there, and I'm telling you straight, there are no hindutva RSS lunatics in Leicester, in my opinion, right? And I
Right.
will agree with that. So this guy
That's
thinks he's.
problematic.
Hold on, can I just say something? If we're all adults, right, and we're all
Then you,
basically
an
be able to
adult does not say
communicate,
Hindutva
Raji,
RSS
please.
should we not be able
lunatics.
to have? We
Raji,
shouldn't.
Raji, please.
But should we
A
not be able to have
rational
a
person
civil
doesn't say
conversation,
Hindutva
even if we
RSS
disagree with
lunatics.
each other?
No,
Raji,
Rajdi,
Raj,
you just made a slur. You created a slur about a person.
were you here?
You said
Were
Raji,
you?
Hindutva
please.
RSS lunatics.
Well,
So
I'm
is that
sorry.
very polite
All right, so
Raji,
I'll just
please,
say
listen to me.
Hindutva extremists then, right? Or
Raji,
the
I
Why
am
is it?
much
RSS.
Who is
older than
extreme? What's
you.
extreme about
I'm going
Hindutva?
to tell you something. Please
Were you
listen to me.
here to listen to them
Please,
describe
please
the meaning
listen to
of
me.
Hindutva?
I think I understand where you come from, but you have to understand where we come from too. I don't really want to have this conversation, you have every right to hold your opinion. I have every right to hold opinion, but we don't have to necessarily discuss why it is better or not. This room was made by Genji, and she asked if we can come and clarify some things about Hindutva and RSS and things that the Westerners have issues with and might be confused with. We did not come to argue about why and what you think about what do you want to do. So
All right. So first of all, I never brought the conversation to
no, that's fine. I
Khalistani, right?
agree.
So the guy was
I
asking
agree.
me, "Are you a Khalistani?" Right? And I said, "I'm not a Khalistani. I'm a Punjab
You're
separatist, which is
absolutely right.
different."
And
So
I
on top
understand
of that,
that.
I wanted to give a if you're talking about Leicester, the UK, you lot are not from the UK, right? Is any
You're
of you from
absolutely
the
right.
UK?
I don't have a problem.
Do
And
you
I
have
should
family in
state
the
that.
UK living in Leicester? No. So you can't. You can give an overview of, let's just
Correct.
say, the modern
And if
day
you,
RSS BJP,
Raji,
right?
Raji,
And
1 minute.
that's all we're
All right.
talking about till now.
Listen for a second. And if you listen to when Genji asked Andy and me, we both said we don't live there, so we don't know. Did you hear that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but all right. So, but
Right?
you
Wait,
had you right.
hold on. I listen to you because I appreciate everything you said. I really do. Right? You're my brother in the geography, so I will never say anything against you. But one thing I want to say is it's important that we understand each other first. We said we don't know anything what happened in the sister. If you have something to enlighten us, that I'm very happy. And you're right that you did not start, he started. I get it, all of that. So
Yeah,
if you
so let me
can,
give you my, because I've been trying to research with this for the last couple of weeks, and I've had some of the worst experience with Islamic extremism. Right, I've had people threatening to kill me. One of my friends was put into hospital. I know somebody was murdered, a black guy, and I was there, and I know there's a massive problem. Some of the guys that are some of the most extreme people, I know them. Right, I was a speaker at Speakers Corner, so I've been through everything. I've been called the biggest Islamophobe in the world. Right. But I'm trying to be fair, right? Even though I know in the UK that when it comes to community, if you're looking at migrant communities, the Hindu community is, I can't even find no negatives apart from this. Yeah, there's nothing for the last 40, 50 years. I've never had problems with Hindus. Even Hindus that know that I support, I've never had no problem with them, right? They've always been cool. That's your opinion, right? And so I have to give the Hindu community a little bit of benefit of doubt that they're not the way they're being portrayed as RSS and extremists. I have to give the benefit of that of my own experience and from the family that live in Leicester, that it's not entirely the case, right? I think people are doing propaganda like Muhammad Hijab and stuff like that. Now, I have to say, and I've said it on my show as well, it's disgraceful the way people are going outside temples, right? Now, I don't care what you think you're doing. If you go to a Sikh temple and start protesting, you might get your freaking head smashed in, right? And deservedly so. And also, I've heard people call them cow pissers and all this. Look, sorry, Muslims out there, you drink camel piss, right? What's the difference between cow piss and camel piss? So all this kind of mockery and stuff like this is disgraceful. I'm trying to be balanced, right? I agree. The Pakistani community, yeah, everyone knows my views on this, has one of the worst reputations in the north of England. They are not the model citizen. They have a track record of grooming, a track record of extremism, a track record of drug trading, a track record of, you name it, prison systems being full of Pakistanis. But that doesn't mean, yeah, that they're not saying some truth in this situation. I want to give evidence. No one's giving me no evidence of RSS BJP guys in the north of England. If you give it to me, innit? Then I'll change my views. But in India, it's a different situation, so we won't talk about India. But here, no, I don't think.
No,
I don't think
I take a little exception to what you just said. Raj, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see every citizen of the UK as a citizen of the UK?
Yeah.
Okay. If the citizen of the UK follows the laws of the UK, is he entitled to defense?
If they're being violated, I think you have to defend yourself, right?
No.
If
If you follow the laws, if you're a law-abiding citizen, no matter what your ideology, I can think 100 things in my head. But if I'm a law-abiding citizen, I don't break the law. I don't go treat other people like shit. I should have all the rights under the law. Correct?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Correct. So just because someone is an RSS or BJP person, or they have interests in the RSS and BJP, okay, they cannot be targeted. Am I correct there?
No, they can't be. No, I know someone's an RSS. Is it?
Exactly.
I know because I used to go Speakers Corner. I've known
No,
someone.
Raj, let's go step by step. I wanted this to be a logical argument. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have to determine whether the aggression was started by the RSS BJP person, right? We have to have evidence for this. Now, I have found, from what I've noticed, that there's no evidence of such.
And I
Because
just said that.
whatever,
I just said that myself.
exactly. Whatever conflict I saw, from what I can see, was propagated in a heated discussion about the Indian flag specifically. And beyond that, it is propagated by people like Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawa, who are not even Indian.
Yeah,
Like,
Muhammad
they're not
Hijab is
Pakistani.
a disgraceful,
Exactly. They're
nasty
not Indian, they're
individual.
not Pakistani, and they're not definitely not they're not ethnically
Well,
from the Indian
thugs.
subcontinent, right?
Right, so I know them. I actually know them in real life, right? They're thugs. Not Ali
Exactly.
Dawa. Ali Dawa was just a bit dumb, but Muhammad Hijab is a thug. He used to walk around Speaker's Corner with a gum shield in his
Exactly.
mouth. Speaker's Corner is a place for discussion, right? If you have a gum shield
Exactly.
in your mouth, you're not in there for discussion. So I agree,
So
Muhammad Hijab.
so Suraj, let's
Yeah.
look at it like this, okay? So whether or not the conflict, whether I'm not an British citizen, all I can ask is the British government and the British people to assess the issue based on evidence, see who started the scuffle, and
Yeah.
anyone who participated in further escalation of the situation should be brought to book. That's a reasonable argument, Raj.
Yeah, no. What I didn't realize
I mean,
until
that is all we can
yesterday,
ask for.
yeah, so
That's
I
all
didn't
we can
realize
ask
until
for.
yesterday was that originally the instead of the Mandar, they were going to go to Smethik Gurdwara. Did you know that, generalist? They put when they put the call out, they put Smethik Gurdwara down. So I'm telling you, you can't go to people's place of worship and start protesting, even if you believe you've done right or you're in the right. You can't go out there holding your crotch, saying you're cowpish drinkers. Like if someone comes out
Yeah,
and
it
smashes
was
your head in,
disgusting. It
if
was they were
someone comes out and
burning
smashes your head
flags.
in, good,
Like,
yeah. Because I like I said, yeah, if the Hindu community truly are under threat, I have no issue with using violence, right? I think Sikhs have showed in the past that we use violence if we have to, because we had in the 80s and the 90s there was problems with Pakistani gangs, and so there was a lot of trouble. I have no issue as long as they can prove that they are the victims in this. Then fair enough. But at the moment, I don't have any real strong evidence either way. Yeah, I haven't found any real hardcore kind of extremism from the Hindu community. I've never met an extremist Hindu in my own opinion. I'm not saying there aren't any. I just have not met any. And I've known quite a lot of Hindus over my lifetime, and so I have to just go by anecdotal. But look, let's just try and have a conversation though, Andy and Life Balanced. Just because I have a different view about India in terms of how I think it should be kind of run, I don't think that means that we're enemies, right?
That's not the point, Raji. I respect you for like that. That's the Indian way, right? That's the dharmic way. Um, I don't have a problem to have an opposing view with you, but
Hmm.
I don't have to engage to either you convince me or I convince you unless there is a bolte na vyavaharikta. We don't have any vyavaharikta to do
Yeah,
that.
but can I say something like that? I look when I hear Hindus going that they were persecuted by the Mughals, the Islamic conquerors, by the British, I agree. My ancestors were Hindus. This is why Sikhism come about in a way because of the oppression, right? So Sikhs have also fought the oppression. I know that there was. I mean, if you look at the word Hindu Kush in Afghanistan, what is the word Hindu Kush? That's the death of Hindus. So I've never ever said that okay, Hindus should not be upset about what's happened to India, right? Because India was raped and pillaged for nearly 800 years, right? Now I've never disputed that. So we're on the same board in terms of that. My thing is how do we move forwards in terms of India, right? And that's where we kind of differ. In terms of the past, my ancestors were Hindus. I believe India, if you look at most of the civilization of India, it is based upon Hinduism. It just is if you look at the Rig Vedas, I mean, the Kshatriya is basically Haryana, with a war between the Mahabharata. So we know India, the Indus Valley civilization, one of the oldest civilizations in the world, was all over the north and up to Gujarat. So I'm proud of Indian history, right? My ancestors were Hindus probably, so I have no issue with that part. Now I'm a Sikh, right? And one of the problems is that look, even though we're both Sikhs and Hindus and we want the best for India, right? We just have different views about what we think is the best. I'm not here trying to propagate any kind of violence, right? I believe everything should be done in a peaceful manner, right? I don't believe in violent action in order to attain what you need to attain as of today. Yeah, so I'm I'm not, your typical Khalistani. I'm actually quite pragmatic in terms of my thingy. I actually base it around Punjab separatism. So I believe all Hindus, Christians,
No,
Muslims,
but
anyone that's
Raj,
Punjabi.
like I said earlier, like we will not talk about British domestic politics. The only question I stated was in terms of what should the law enforcement mechanism be as a rational human being. That's all. I don't care about the politics. However they want to reach it, that's fine. But within India, I'm sorry, only Indians will decide what happens to India, and it
All
will be
right, so
through the democratic. It'll be
all right,
Raj, let me finish. It'll be through the democratic process of our own country. We will go through.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. All right. So first of all, I agree with that 100%. I have no real say in what happens in India. I'm not an Indian citizen, but I have lots of family there. I have roots going back thousands of years on that continent, right?
So do we.
And I
And
can't just cut off my
and-
roots to India, right? So I still have family there that I care about. And so all I'm saying to you guys is that, look, I maybe in the past you've had encounters with people that are Khalistanis and so on. Maybe that's left a bad taste in your mouth. I don't know. But I believe that, even I should be able to have a discussion, even with someone with a totally opposing view to me, and still be able to have a civil discussion, right?
No, we're
and shake
having
hands
that.
and move off.
We're having that, but
That's what I'm saying.
like I
So
said,
I apologize if I got angry before. I've got a bit of a hot temper in it sometimes.
no, that's fine.
I just
That's
feel
fine.
like, someone's kind of like saying to me, they won't even talk to me because of my political views. I just thought like that was not productive for the conversation, right?
I know, and I feel bad that
yeah, what was the guy's name? Look, jump back on, dude, man. Don't.
No, I understand, but it's like the same thing that it happens, and I think the biggest thing that we can do is forgive each other because it happens. We should not have misunderstanding between ourselves because that will only create more division, and I don't want division among us.
And we are Indians. I mean, we should be proud of our history, right? One of the issues I do have with Pakistanis is that they don't want to admit their ancestors were Hindus and they're ashamed of their Indian history, right? So when I speak to Pakistanis, they're like, oh, no, it has nothing to do with India. We come from Turkey. We come from it. I said, no, you're Indian, man. Your ancestors are Indians and they're full Indian. So we probably, like in terms of certain aspects, we have a lot of things we agree with and a lot of things we disagree on. But in terms of the UK and Leicester, I've done a lot of research. Like I said, I've done a show and I did say that, look, from my opinion, I cannot see any evidence of RSS, hindutva, kind of like extremism in the UK, right? And I don't know what the reason exactly why it happened in Leicester, but I think a lot of instigators like Muhammad Ijab and this what's his name, Smal to Jannah, and a couple of other guys that I've met in real life are using this to kind of bash the politics in India. And what they're doing, they're scapegoating your average Hindu in the UK is a very law-abiding, upstanding citizen, right? And they're not really doing anything, and they're going to be fearful if people are going around. Because can I just say something? When it comes to gangs, the Pakistani gangs in the north are dangerous, right? They run the drug trades. They are. The Sikhs have went up against them in the 90s and the thingy. And I'm telling you, they're dangerous. They're not the Hindus. I'm not sure if they know how dangerous they can be because they run the whole drug trade. That's why there was all this grooming up north because once you go into the drugs, it kind of links to prostitution and stuff like that. So this is how it all happened, isn't it? And obviously, Sikh girls and Hindu girls were being groomed in the 80s and 90s. I don't know if you knew that in Birmingham. Leicester, Birmingham, and all these places, Sikh girls and Hindu girls were being groomed in the 80s and 90s first, then they went on to white girls. So I'm not sure if you know the whole history of like the problems in the UK in terms of the northern areas. Do you understand like the kind of different locales in the UK? Yeah,
I know some about it. Yes.
Yeah, but did you know that in the 80s and the 90s, the Sikhs had massive issues with the? But did you know that the Sikhs had massive issues with the Pakistani community?
No, I didn't know that.
There was full-on gang warfare. I'm talking about shotguns. I'm talking about thingies. So there was a group called Share Punjab.
But Raj, we are not here. We didn't come here to talk about the UK specifically. Can we discuss what your problems are with the Hindutva and RSS? I think that will be more constructive. I want to know why do you keep calling them extremist? I don't understand. Do you know what the RSS actually is? But
all right, so I know the origin of the RSS come about after the British.
No, but do you know what the RSS does? Like majority of the RSS work, do you know what it does?
I know that the kind of roots of it are kind of from a fascist kind of ideology.
No,
now you're saying that's
not
fascist. It's not true.
All right, so
Raj, can I ask you a question?
All right, so let me just say one thing. Let me just say one thing. Why I think
let's do this in a constructive way, okay? Raj, what do you think fascism entails?
It means that when you want a totalitarian state which is in control
Okay.
of the nation, right, and you don't want
Like
anyone
what
free
can you
thinking.
give me
And
some ideas of what kind of things would fascism entail? Like what would they do?
well, first of all, I mean,
What would a
they'll
fascist
probably
group do?
well, they'll curtail like free speech. They'll curtail freedom of expression. They'll curtail any kind of mindset which is out of their realm of what they believe to be their worldview, and anything that dissents from that is then seen as an enemy, and they'll be very intolerant and very, very harsh against them. You can see that. I mean, even though communism isn't a state, it still has the same principles of total control,
Okay.
right? Where they want to
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, they have it in group and an out group, right? Where you're part of the group and the other group is out, and anyone that's out of the group is then seen as the enemy.
Okay. You were here for the first part of the conversation where we were describing what the RSS stands for.
I didn't see
And
the
what-
whole thing.
what's
I
Savarkar?
saw a little bit. I mean, look, when I researched the beginning of the RSS, now I know there's a lot of. I've done my show about the BJP, right? I know that in Punjab, the
No, the
Akali
BJP
Dal
is
Party.
separate from the RSS.
All right,
So the BJP is the political arm
Yeah.
of the RSS, and right now it is quite detached from the RSS in terms of policy making because it's running the government. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just
I've
running a
given
political.
the comparison to. Now, don't take offense to this. In
I'm not
Ireland,
taking
you have
offense. I'm trying to break down
in
the
Ireland.
idea.
So in terms, because a lot of people don't understand Indian politics. So I said in Ireland, basically, you have Sinn Féin, right? Do you know who Sinn Féin is? They're basically Sinn Féin is basically a Irish separatist movement, right, in Northern Ireland, and then you have the IRA. The IRA is the paramilitary wing of the Sinn Féin, but they're not the same, but they're linked. So the way I see it is that RSS is like the paramilitary wing of the BJP, but they don't always agree.
Okay, I've got a question for you then. Oh, so this is interesting. This is interesting. I mean, this is like beautiful, but okay. Do you know that the majority of the RSS work has nothing to do with this kind of stuff? It is mainly to do with.
I would assume most of it would be to do with kind of like helping the poor and stuff like that. But even if you do 90% good, but do 10% bad,
hold on.
It doesn't mean you take away the
Let's
bad.
break this.
Wait.
Okay, go on. Go on, life.
No, go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
No, interesting thing. So further things. So the RSS, while you are right on this, where is this information that you're getting that it is totalitarian specifically? Like, where have you got this information?
Look, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I try and listen to kind of a broad range of news organizations, including Times Now, including India Today, including this and that. So I try and also listen to the other side in it, like Politics Punjab. So I try and get a.
No, but my question is, where do the RSS themselves say? Where do the RSS say that we want to create a totalitarian state where only our idea will be imposed? Have they ever said this out loud?
All right. So, from my understanding, the kind of foundation of the RSS. Now, you can just tell me if I'm wrong once I say it. Is that India is basically a Hindu nation, right? Not necessarily the religion, but the kind of culture, the way Hindu is. And I kind of agree. It's based upon a dharmic kind of Hindu culture, right? I mean, if you go back thousands of years, that's what it's about. And that basically any new religion that have come through that is not indigenous to India, like Christianity and Islam, is an outside force, which is actually a force for destruction. So they do see the Jains and the Buddhists and the Sikhs as kind of like sects of Hinduism, right? When we're actually a separate religion. So they will tolerate us, but they will be very harsh upon anybody that is not within their group. This is why I said when it comes to fascists, let me just finish. So you can finish. So when I said before that when it comes to fascists, they're very, very kind of like the in group, they will treat very well, and then the out group, they're very harsh. It's like there's no balance, right? And so it's the same with them. In my opinion, this viewpoint that what I've read is that they believe that Christians and Islam is an outside force, and they are not full citizens unless they believe in the hindutva kind of mindset. They are not a full equal citizen within India.
Raji, एक minute. My entire mother's side of the family are Christian. My aunt married a Muslim. So let me tell you, when I was raised as a Christian. I used to go in front of the Hindu temple, and I used to preach, and it happens today. And I was talking about that, but I guess you weren't there. It happens today where Christians go in front of the Hindu temple, stand in front of it and say, your gods have eyes, but they don't see, ears, but they don't hear. Come to the living God and be saved and find heaven and all that stuff, right? It happens today. I used to do that when I was 8 years old, right? So to say it's, can you imagine any Hindu going and doing that in front of any other temple, any mosque, any church? It doesn't happen, right? Have you
No,
ever
no,
seen
no,
a
no, no,
Hindu?
no, no, no. It doesn't. Look, I agree. When it comes to
Wait, let me
Hindus,
finish. Let me
until
finish.
recently,
Then how can you say, then if that is the only country and the only people that allow that to happen, right? Now 99.99999% of all my family are still Christian, right? My cousins marry in a Western style. They used to wear sari and getting married in churches. It no longer happens. They all wear wedding gowns like in the West, and they get married like in the West. They don't follow the tradition. My grandmother, my grandparents, who raised us as Christian, never ate beef, but all my cousins eat beef now,
no,
right?
no. I know what you're getting at. I agree.
Wait. What I'm saying is, you can't keep saying, "Oh, I understand that," but that all of that is happening, and nobody is having an issue with that. That is not
all right. So
issue.
look, I agree with. I will say one thing, and I've seen it firsthand. Abrahamic faiths are extremely disrespectful to Dharmic faiths, not just Hinduism. I mean, when I used to go to Speaker's Corner, because I wear a turban and stuff, a lot of Arabs didn't realize that I'm not a Hindu, right? So when they used to cuss me, they say, "Oh, you worship a monkey. Oh, I'm going to eat your cow. I'm going to eat your god. Oh, you're going to come back as a rat." And so I used to just like brush it off, right? Because I was like, you need so. So I know, and even the insults were against Hindus, even though I'm a Sikh, right? But we do believe in certain, because obviously we respect Hanuman and stuff like that. So, I didn't like it. So when it comes to the disrespect of Hinduism, I agree. Hinduism has been maligned, has been literally for 800 years into 1,000 years in India, since the 10th century, has been on the back foot, right? I agree with you on that. Now, what I believe has happened now is that there's been a kind of turnaround in since India's formation, and now the Hindus are kind of fed up, right? Now, I kind of get it. Like, you're fed up, right? Your country's been literally pillaged and raped. Mass genocides have happened there. People from Pakistan separated and said nothing happened over in India. I speak to Pakistan. Oh, nothing happened in India. Hold on a second. 140 million people died. That's quite a modest thing. But I believe that the RSS and the BJP are like an extreme reaction to what they believe to be a kind of like a disrespect to India, right?
We agreed earlier that when we say something, we should be based on evidence, right? So can I ask you some questions? I'll ask you some interesting questions. We will do a thought experiment here, okay? So imagine the Golden Temple. Hold up! Don't get upset. I'm going to ask some difficult questions because it's important for us to empathize.
It's hard to trigger me. It's hard to trigger me. Don't worry. I've heard everything.
We would empathize with the situation, right? Imagine the Golden Temple was demolished, and a part of the Golden Temple structure was used to build a mosque, right? Basically, that's the situation in Kashi. If you have heard of the city of Varanasi, there's literally a temple that has been, on top of that, a mosque is being constructed. And imagine that the Guru Granth Sahib is basically placed in a wuzu khana. The Muslims know that wuzu khana is a religious structure, is a religiously important to you, but they have continued to use it as a wuzu khana for a long time. Imagine further that you have to basically go through a legal system since independence 1947. You have to wait in the legal system until 2022. You have to go to court just to go and observe whether those things are part of your religious structure. And when you just go to observe that, you're accused of being a Hindutva bigot. Imagine, or you're being accused of being a Sikh bigot, not a Hindutva bigot, because we're using Sikhism as an example. Now tell me, is that the logical understanding of what a fascist would do? A fascist just saying, screw you buggers, I'm going to take it back.
All right, so let me answer this because I'll let you talk. So there's not just one temple that's been desecrated in India. I mean, they've been razed to the ground everywhere. Like Aurangzeb, you name it, Babur, they've come in and destroyed Hindu temples everywhere. That's why there's hardly anything left. I mean, Afghanistan was a Hindu Buddhist country at one point. There's not a single Hindu or Buddhist there.
So then how are these facts?
So let me just finish. So what I'm saying to you, I agree. The wrongs of the past were wrong, right? And if someone done that to the Sikhs, and they tried to do the Afghans went into the Golden Temple, tried to destroy it, and they put cow carcasses in the thingy, and we defeated them, right? And so I agree that happened, but we are at a point in the 21st century where if you look at the Alaska Mosque, it's on top of the Temple Mount. That Temple Mount has been there for thousands of years, but it's now a mosque, right? If you look in Turkey, you have the Great Mosque in Turkey. That used to be a church, right? And then now in India, there's lots of places which I 100% know what used to be mandirs, right? And the extremists, kind of like, Mughals, who were like under Aurangzeb and stuff, went in there and desecrated and destroyed them, and basically built mosques and stuff on top of them. And I would understand. I'd be furious, right? I would be furious. But we can't go today in today's age and start tearing down every
That's my point.
religious place
But they go into
that
the
used
legal
to be
system.
another place, because then everywhere we'd have to turn everything down. Like
But Raj, you understand, right? That the person, these people are doing it via the legal method. They go into court, they're asking for justice. If the court allows it, they will proceed further. They're saying every time they're saying if the court allows it.
So what about the
Right?
Barbary
So
Mosque then? I mean,
that-
what happened
So
with the
okay,
Barbary
so the
Mosque?
Babri
when
Mosque.
they tore it down?
Okay, the Babri Mosque is a very interesting example. Do you know that for many years the Hindus actually went to court? They kept going to court, but the court kept delaying it, and court kept saying no, we will not discuss it. And at the same time, the Muslims were shoving it in their face. Oh, we have your mosque. You'll never build it. You'll never build it there. So at one point, you understand what happens, right? When emotions just explode. So they were like, we have screw it. We are trying
Yeah,
our.
they
We are
also
trying
asked
to
for evidence.
No,
The evidence was shown. The evidence was shown at the
and
press.
evidence was shown.
The
I
Muslims
am not
themselves asked.
disagreeing.
The
I am
point
100.
is fundamentally
All right,
this. The point is
so let me say
fundamentally
something, Andy. The first conversation I had in Speaker's Corner was with a guy called Adnan Rashid. Do you know Adnan Rashid? He is an Islamic revisionist who said that less than 100,000 Hindus were killed during 800 years. I proposed to him it was in the millions, right? Like 400 million at the time, but I know it's less than that. So my first conversation is with people that even deny a Holocaust happening, right? And so I agree. I understand why Hindus are upset, right? Because you have people saying that nothing happened in India. There was no raping and pillaging. There was no massacring of Hindus. There was no demolitions of thousands or maybe millions of mandirs. And there was no kind of oppression of Hindus. When we know that to be true, because the Sikhs also fell under that umbrella, and we also faced the persecution, right? So we know directly, and it pisses me off. I get furious, right? I've had so many people call me an Islamophobe all the time, Raj, and I'm just trying to tell them the history. Don't deny the history, right?
No, but you're
If
missing my point. Raj, you're missing my point. I'm not talking about what...
but
Raj,
I understand your point. What you're saying is that
What
people are upset, right? And people are
No,
not
I'm not saying
upset.
people are upset. I'm saying people
Yeah.
are taking the legal method. They're using the lawful method. Does that strike you as something a fascist organization would do?
Yeah.
Well, even fascists would go through the route of
No, they will not.
No, they
will take-
won't.
Yes,
They will
when
take
they're
the-
not in
they will take
power.
it by power by force.
All right, so
No, they will
when
seize the
Hitler was
power.
not all right, so when Hitler was
The
not in
fascism
power.
in itself
So let
is...
me finish. When Hitler was not in
Do
power,
you think Trump is a fascist?
I mean, I think he's got fascist ideals. He would love to have a fascist state. He just
No,
can't do
Hitler,
it because he's been
the
restricted.
Nazi movement did take power by force.
Yeah, it
They
was
went
They
around
originally
burning
were elected,
libraries.
right? All right, so let me finish it. The
No,
Nazi
that's
power.
after. No, wait, hold on, Raj. You're talking about the election part. I'm talking about before the election. There was a lot of Nazi behavior throughout.
Yeah, and they got arrested and they were put in prison. This is where he wrote Mein
No.
Kampf.
They built. There are very interesting stories about this. The point is, they went around burning libraries. They went along basically using unconstitutional, illegal methods to attack people. The point is that the so-called Hindu people are not doing that. They're using the legal method for everything. That's
Are you
the
telling
point.
me there's no attacks on minorities?
There's a
on Hindu
sporadic.
No, but
There's
see,
sporadic.
that's the thing. This concept...
Okay. So is
This
there?
concept of...
No one's
this
going to
concept
deny
of-
the sporadic
hold on,
violence. No one's denying that.
All right, so let's not go into the percentages, because I said on my channel, most people that vote BJP are not extremists. They just, because they only ever, look, what people need to understand, in India, you have a selection of maybe 2 or 3 parties, right? And they will just go for the party that's offering them the most. They don't even really know about the actual, let's say, the politics of that particular party. So when
No. The Indian citizen is very clear. Indian citizen is very well understood. They
Yeah,
understand
see,
so
exactly
what
what
about
you're
the
talking
poor
the election
class? So I'll give an
Election
example.
system in India is not like that. See, if the federal election that BJP might be voted in, but the statewide elections, the people vote whoever they choose that that's going to do the best for their state. So you
Yes,
have to understand that the people who voted for BJP in the national level did not vote for BJP in the local level. They voted
not
because
always. Yeah.
the local government understand them better about their needs for the local state, and then they voted for them, even though some of the things are deadly against what they believe in. Because you have, see, this is very complex thing that people don't understand, because they think that this is like America, like the Democrats and Republicans. That's not how it works. They the in local wise as well as the federal wise in India, the people vote for whoever they feel
All
are
right, so
connected
but the thing is, look here. One of the things when I read up on the RSS is that they had a admiration. Well, now in hindsight, they didn't know when they said this that Hitler was going to go on to genocide the Jews, right? But they did before Hitler went into power. They had a respect for him because he had a very kind of, we are Germanic and this is a German land, and that basically, you know, Germany for Germans, right? And Hindu nationalism has a very similar concept, right? Now, I'm
No,
not
they
saying
don't.
No,
I'm
no, no,
I'm
no,
sitting here
not
and
at all.
telling you, like there are people who are in RSS who are Christians or Muslims.
this.
Yep.
How would they be there if it all about hegemony? They don't come and talk about Hinduism. They, you know, the president of RSS in Madhya Pradesh is a Muslim, and you know what he himself will tell you. Like when there is a namaz time on Friday, they stop that meeting for him so he can go and do his prayer and come back. You
What
know,
is the northeast
the,
like? What is the
the,
northeastern state? There's a the chubby guy. He's the like the RSS guy from what is it? Tripura? Is
I
it?
forgot his name.
Oh, what's his
He's a
name?
very
Similar
funny guy also.
Yeah.
the head
Go.
of the Punjab BJP. I forgot his name, man. He used to be the Kali Dal of Delhi.
Yeah, but see,
So, so
that's
look,
a
I
tricky. See,
also
that's
look.
why
Yeah, I know.
Rajiv, I completely understand. Like that's what the India is about. Karnataka and Punjab as much in difference as Punjab and California and Karnataka and California. Trust me. But the thing is, we understand how the entire thing works, right? And for me, I don't. Punjab, there is no Kannadiga going and ruling Punjab, right?
So, all right. So the lady. All right. So let me say. So before I say something, I totally disagree with people going outside mandars and doing their stupidity, right? Like saying you're cow piss drinkers. But when I researched the lady that was supposed to be giving a talk there, she is an extremist. No one can deny she's not an extremist. She was calling for the death of Muslims and all this kind of stuff. And like, trust me, everyone thinks I'm an Islamophobe,
No.
right?
So do you
But
know her story? Do you know her
what is the
story?
story? I mean, I don't know the
She,
full story because she's always
she
speaking in
was
Hindi.
she was actually, see, I don't, that's why I see this is
I know the
bad,
full
because now
story.
I'm going to tell you a story, then
This
you're
is
going to
Nupur
think,
Sharma, right?
oh, you know, trust me, Raji. I don't want anybody, like I said, I have my Christian
Hey,
family.
dude, don't call me Raji. Call me Raj, man. Raji.
Oh,
Raji's
I have Muslim part of my family, Christian part of my family, and I know the story about that woman, and what happened to that woman is atrocity, and I'm ashamed to call myself a Indian descent to know what happened to her. It shouldn't have happened to what happened to her. Now suddenly that propaganda didn't work. You know, it's the same story. What happened with
Who are we talking about?
the
Like
Taj
who are we
Hotel?
talking
You
about?
know that Sadhvi.
the one that was
Oh,
supposed to
okay,
give a
okay,
talk at the
okay, okay,
Mandar.
okay, okay.
So it's the same thing that happened to in Taj Hotel. If they did not catch that guy, you know, they had all Hindu names, and that they were even wearing maulis in their hand. So they would have called it a Hindu terror attack. This is orchestrated thing, and you should have seen what happened to the guy who investigated this problem. He was jailed. The detective was jailed and did horrible things to him. You know, I don't. That's why don't believe me. Don't believe me. I just want you to take everything that you know with a grain of salt. I don't
Yeah,
want to.
but bro, yeah, I've heard lots of. Obviously, look, if I want to type out Muslim extremists, they're everywhere, right? In my local, down the road from me, there was a guy that was arrested for showing children, school children, beheading videos in a school, right? in a Muslim school. So in the UK, around the world, we know when it comes to Islamic extremism, it's real. It's down the road from me. I've seen it. We've had London Bridge attacks. But the thing about Hindu extremism, right? Yeah. Now in the UK, I don't think it's there personally yet. I've not seen it. But in India, I have seen videos of people being killed for eating beef. I have seen people being forced to say Jai Shri Ram.
Let me tell you that.
I have seen videos of top leaders of the RSS or BJP calling for the death of Muslims and all that. So who are these people? I mean, if they're not just outliers, then
Raj, can I do
I
another
think
thought
I
experiment with
think
you?
he's talking about Yogi Adityanath.
Yeah, can I before you go that Raj, can I do another thought experiment with you? Bro, you seem a very reasonable man. Let me do another thought experiment with you.
he doesn't know me that.
So-
I was already joking.
Right, no, you do seem like a reasonable man. Okay.
Yeah,
let's
I've
look at
grown
this,
up. You're lucky you took it to me today because like I'm like trying to change my ways in it and like be a bit more productive. I used to shout a lot.
No
so,
worries,
like,
no worries,
as
no
you saw
worries.
earlier when I went a bit mad, but
No
I'm trying
worries,
to be
no
a
worries.
better person.
No worries. So you know the protests in New Delhi during the farmers protest thing, right?
Mm.
Do you know that the Nihangs there actually cut a man's hand and hung him upside down?
Yeah,
For
and I
example.
disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Right. No, I agree. You disagree. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, and another point, one lady was went to the Gurudwara. She was carrying some drugs or whatever. I'm not sure what it was, but they slapped her. They hit her.
Yeah, it was wrong, and I condemned it outright. I saw the
Right.
video.
No,
And
I
I
get
said
all
it's
that.
wrong.
So
It's
just
wrong.
just like
No,
that.
no,
Very
because
similar
can I
to
say
that.
so? Can I say
Raj,
somebody
Raj,
actually?
let me
No,
finish.
no,
Let me
but
say
Andy,
why
one
I'm
minute,
saying this.
Andy, 1 minute. Let me
Raj,
explain.
Okay.
People have actually shown me that video and told me to give my
Mhm.
opinion. I said straight out on Jedi's, whoever slapped that woman is a disgrace to Sikhi, right? Like
Mhm.
people
Exactly.
make mistakes. You don't slap someone in the Gurdwara, especially in a temple or anywhere. And so I
Correct.
disagree with that. Cutting off someone and killing someone was wrong, right? They should have
Exactly.
apprehended that person and
Mhm.
done whatever and given to the police if you've done something wrong.
No, so let me finish
Okay.
the reason there's a reason why I'm asking it in this particular way. I'm not looking to offend you, and I'm not going to put you in a difficult situation. Another time I saw a video of a like a sadhu was traveling to Punjab and he was assaulted by some Nihangs as well. Right? He was doing nothing. He was traveling through. They pulled him, they beat him up, and they did all that stuff. The point here is very simple. You're condemning it very clearly. People like me and Life condemn it clearly. Many of us, many people in the RSS or people in Hindutva generally will condemn such situations very clearly. The point is you cannot judge all of us, all the people who are involved in the RSS, because some person did a bad thing in the name of that particular organization. Right. The point is this: you will definitely see videos where people are overreacting, they're behaving badly, they're getting emotional, they're doing things that they should not be doing, because at some point their ability to distinguish in good and the right thing and the wrong thing goes away. They basically fall for their emotion, the emotional reaction at a point of time. The idea is that we not take individual incidents that we see on the net as a how say an example of the entire group, right? Because then what we will be doing, we'll be doing stereotyping, we will be doing bigotry. That is my point. So I will not judge all Sikhs by the 2-3 examples that I saw. Same way, I would appreciate if the world not judge every single RSS person by the individual actions of some people who got carried away by emotion and started doing bad things.
No,
That's what I would prefer.
I try my best not to. Obviously, I'm a human being, and if you see certain things, then you might start stereotyping. Like I said, my interaction with the Hindu community in the UK, I've never had a problem with Hindus, like not once. But I have had problems with Pakistanis and Muslims. Obviously, I've had my bug knocked off. I've been attacked. One of my relatives are groomed. So I'm trying to be fair, right? Like I'm trying to say that the Hindu community in the UK, like, I don't have any issues with them. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? That I have to go by past behavior. If somebody's doing efferys or doing stupidness all the time, like the Pakistani community in the north, and then one community is not doing anything and is an upstanding community and has a reputation for being great citizens, then I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? But it doesn't mean that they're 100% right. I still have to look into it, right? And say, okay,
No,
maybe.
you see, they
Absolutely,
don't have to.
absolutely.
You see, you
Okay,
cannot
can I
now
just
say
General,
Hindus.
just share the screen for a second, just to show them what I did of it. Hopefully, they don't get too tricky. So I'm an artist, right? Let me
If
just
it's
show you.
I don't know if
No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. They'll be fine, man. They're growing up, man. So basically, I did do one on the Punjab protest, isn't it? So here it is. Look, that's a drawing I've done on the Punjab protest. But I've also done a lot. I get a lot of attacks from this the Battle of Salanguri, where 21 Sikhs for 10,000 Afghans. You can see here, all of these drawings are. I've been called an extremist, right? Because I did this drawing of Banda Singh Bahadur. That's the Golden Temple in the background, getting destroyed by the Mughals, right? By the Afghans. And he come out and he destroyed them. So I know my history, right? About the Sikh history and, what happened to our people and stuff. This is Maharaja Dalip Singh, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Here's a Jallianwala Bagh massacre that the British done against the thing, and I'll exhibit this in Parliament. So I know when it comes to India and stuff like that, I am not anti-India as people, right? Like my people are from India, the Indian subcontinent, right? So I'm not trying to say that all Hindus are this. That's what I'm trying to say to people, that, like I personally believe that, a lot of people like Muhammad Hijab and all of these people are putting a very dangerous narrative out there that Hindus are now this extremist group that are going around terrorizing Muslims. And the problem with the Muslim community, they're not known for being sensible, right? We've had people killed on the streets for saying certain things, so like beheaded and stuff. So it could happen that the Hindu community could be at the back end of a very
see, Raj, all I would ask you, since I would see that you are sort of sensible, I would request that you make more friends in the RSS. You would find that they are not the extremists that they are made out to be. They're actually, I also thought the same thing, by the way. Even if you look at me 10 years ago, I thought the RSS were the coming of the devil or something like that, like they're horrible people. And I used to treat them as such because I had family members in my who are so pro RSS. I'll have fights with them, right? I'll have fights with them, and our relationship, even then, even with me fighting with them, there was a smile on their face and always a knowing thing like, oh, you don't know much, you've not met anyone. And then I realized as I met more people and saw the way they looked at the world is little different from the way they portrayed. See, there are definitely community, like there's definitely pieces of the song that can be very aggressive, but it does not mean the RSS is that. The RSS's goal is very simple. It is to bring unity among the subcontinent of every community, whether it be tribal, SC, whether it be Sikh, it be Muslim, it be Christian. Their goal is to bring unity. It's not meant to divide. While people may think that is true, but they're looking for unity. That's it.
Look, if anyone knows what my kind of motto is, that I can be friends. I have friends that I disagree with. Like I have friends from all different walks of life, right? And some of them I strongly disagree with their beliefs, or I strongly disagree with the way of the thing. I can still be friendly with people, right? I'm a human. People are all human beings. But when it comes to the RSS, we're always going to be at ideological kind of differences, because my particular kind of viewpoint is that I want to separate the Punjab, right? And so
but
no
you
matter
must,
what,
you
Well,
must, there
you
must be a
guys,
reason for
can
that.
you maybe you could explain to Raj what Rashtriya Sikh Sangha is?
I'm not aware of the specific
I don't
segments
know
of the
either.
RSS.
So
I will not speak of something I do not know.
yeah, I
Sadly,
don't know.
will
I
not speak.
won't say anything either because
yeah,
I don't
look,
know.
I would look here. I really want to understand
So it says the
right,
Rashtriya
So
Sikh Sangha, National Sikh Association, is an India-based Sikh affiliate of RSS.
yeah, I know the leader of the BJP, not the RSS in Punjab, is a Sikh guy with a turban on. He used to be the leader. He used to be the Akali Dal, which is the leader of the Delhi Gurudwara. I've forgotten what his name is, man. Something
no,
Sirsa. Oh, it's
this is
Sirsa.
different than that, Raj.
I don't know. BJP is different, but they also linked to a certain degree, aren't they? I mean, they're linked.
No, this
Then,
the Rashtriya Sikh Sangha is different than the Akali Dal, right? Akali Dal
I
was
know.
just a
But
political.
what I'm trying to say is that the Akali Dal party was actually in a coalition with the BJP for quite a few years in Punjab.
Yes,
I'm not sure if
but
you're aware of that.
but see, you have to see, and that's another reason why I was telling you, Akali Dal did not win as much as the Congress did, right? Because the politics in states of India is very different than the national politics. So you won't see the same kind of attitude towards nation as towards states. So India is a republic. So
So
that's
share the screen. Share the screen for a second, and so I can just show you the guy that I'm talking about.
yeah, I know.
So his name's Manjeet Singh, Manjinder Singh.
Captain.
So he was on December, he resigned from the Shiromani called Dali Party, inciting personnel,
Yeah.
and joined the BJP, right? So
Yes.
he's actually the BJP spokesman for
Punjab.
for the Punjab, right? So this is
Yes,
the thing,
yes,
though.
yes.
Like, as much as look here, he's my Sikh brother, right? He's my Sikh brother. I don't think he's an extremist or he's some kind of, fundamentalist. But I do disagree with. And look, here, I'm in my late 40s, right? And I've thought about it and I've thought about it. So it's not like I'm a youngster. And I do believe that, the Punjab should be separate from India. That doesn't mean I hate India, right? I love, India civilization. I think we got a great history to be
Well,
proud of, right?
Yeah,
That doesn't mean I hate Hindus
they,
either. So this is one of the things I've realized. A lot of people think because you
uh,
support a separate state, you automatically hate Hindus. I
but
believe that Hindus should be part of the Punjab, right? And it should be Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, not based upon a religion, but based upon secular democracy. So my kind of views on the Punjab is different from maybe say your standard Khalistani. I'm a
yeah,
bit,
but
I'm a
see,
bit more.
you don't know Punjab local politics. Punjab local politics is written with the castes and it's even in Sikhs, right?
Yeah, no, no,
And
no, no, I know. I've talked about the disgraceful Sikh caste
it
system.
happens, and it doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
mean,
Like there is no
I've
utopia. There is
yeah,
no
I mean, look,
utopia.
yeah,
Let me tell
look,
you.
even people that say, "Oh, my jataga," yeah, you
Ah,
say you're saying you're not a caste, you are because what
yes,
jatna mukabala,
that
putta
is not
jatane
number one.
balon there, bakare. So you have all these songs that are
Yes,
basically very jat centric, and I've had to battle it on these streams
yes.
because I don't. When people ask me what caste I am, I say I'm a Sikh, innit? I don't mention the caste because
It doesn't matter.
Sikhism is
Like
not supposed to have any caste. Now, in India, there's some disgraceful situations where lower caste Sikhs are not allowed to go into particular gurdwara or be parties of committees. Even in the UK, like it's disgraceful. So yeah,
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
but
So
but
that's why
Raj,
I'm
Raj,
saying.
let's not
That's why I'm
discuss
saying
Khalistan. But
one more thing I want to say, Andy, to Tegh Bahadur ji, हमारा भी गुरु है. उनको हिंदुस्तान की हिंद की चादर बुला दिया गया था, पंजाब की नहीं. बस.
say that again, man, Sunyani.
I said that I believe all Sikh gurus are my gurus.
Yeah.
और तेग बहादुर जी को हिंद का चादर बुला दिया था.
You know,
पंजाब
Guru
का
Tegh
चादर नहीं.
Bahadur, like we died for the sake of our Hindu brothers, right? He died for the sake of
So
our
then he's my
I
chadar.
have no, but this is
He's
where you
my
have to.
chadar, and he will never be removed from
I know
me.
they call him the shield of India, right? I
Yes.
understand that.
So
And the Hindus,
that's it.
I've
There
never
is no
had.
Punjab shield. If he
Look,
wanted Punjab shield, he would have specifically said
right. So,
Punjab shield is
look,
Indian
point,
shield.
all right. So this is a separate topic. But the thing is, look, I've been to mandars, right? I've known the Hindus that go to Gurdwara, right? I went to a mandar during Diwali just recently, like 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, I'll show you that generalist. I don't know if you want to, but I went to a mandar a couple of months ago. And a lot of Sikhs were getting upset with me. I'll do a mandar ko gaya see to Hindu ban gaya hon Hindu. And look, yeah, I know. Look, when it comes to Sikhs and Hindus, we respect our own religious places. I can go to a mandar, you can go to thing. And like, look, there is this supremacist mindset of, I would say, mainly Muslims, where going into somebody else's place of worship and stuff, like they don't do that kind of stuff because they think it kind of takes away from their own. So maybe Hindus feel a bit slighted when in India, they don't feel like they're forthcoming with Hindus. And yes, blah blah. Oh, bolda hone, go and talk, man. Sorry, man. Say blah blah. Telling me.
so, no, let me Raj, I don't want to discuss the Khalistani thing too much, but I would just ask you to assess. Maybe I would get maybe you get yourself and a couple of other people who understand the ground situation in Punjab. Punjab cannot exist independently. It's literally, first of all, it is the groundwater level is extreme. The groundwater is extremely polluted. The soil quality is deteriorating by the minute, right? The problem fundamentally is if Punjab, even if, like, I'm just doing a hypothetical, if Punjab breaks from the Indian Union, it is not going to survive on its own. It's going to die basically, because a lot of the farming survives on money transfers and funding from the center. You're not going to be able to even break even. And since farming is a major export for Punjab, you're going to suffer. To me, the benefit. Listen. The whole reason why they protested in front of in Delhi was because they were not getting the amount of money they wanted. If Punjab, I'm telling you this as I'm an environmentalist. I believe the environment needs to be saved. But if the farmers in Punjab continue doing what they're doing right now, they're going to ruin their land forever. And that land is not going to be worth the beautiful sacrifices the previous generation of Sikhs have made. Because they literally they're destroying the land. I'm telling you.
No, when they're burning
over-fertilizing it, over farming it, they're ruining it.
I have said before the Punjab farming situation, they need to modernize, right? Now, I mean, the way you do this is not the way Modi done it. He pushed through laws without really consulting anyone. It was mainly the way he did it, not necessarily the laws.
No, Raj, no.
That's
Yeah,
not
so
true.
I don't want to talk about
Manmohan
this.
Singh.
Yeah, sorry, Jen. Sorry, I apologize.
No, he's talking about farmers' law. Manmohan Singh talked about the CAA and farmers' law way before Modi ever took up, right? It's in the cabinet minutes. So I think let's not, Raj. I think you're an awesome person. We had a good conversation. I think we can agree to disagree, but I think you can also. I learned something from you, but hopefully today. You have to do a little bit more homework about like why all of these things became an issue. I don't want, because like I said, I don't want to do this to you because it's unfair, because I can tell you 200 things, then it's another thing for you to add, but maybe you will find yourself a truth when you're looking for it, and I hope you find it, because that way you will be stronger. So
Dude,
but
I believe, look here, if someone gives me information and it's true, I will adjust my views. And people have seen me do that, right? I've had views when I first showed up that some people considered to be pretty unreasonable. Like, I thought all Salafis were terrorists, right? I remember I said it on camera. I said, if you're a Salafi, you're a terrorist, right? Then I was told, no, not all Salafis are terrorists. They're just Orthodox Muslims. So even myself, who can seem unreasonable, I can adjust my views, right? But I need to be given
yes.
evidence.
No, but
I need to be given evidence.
I am giving you have to go and look at the cabinet meeting minutes during the time of the 2006 2011. You will see a lot of things that was already in the making, was trying to be pushed through. Even the CAA was from 2011, right? And it was pushed through, and then suddenly it was, because it is BJP, it became a religious thing. It's not at all. It was the same exact thing that Manmohan Singh ji was speaking in cabinet, right? So because you can find the videos online. You can still go
No,
and
but you
find
can.
them.
You have to understand one thing, and I don't want to open up a can of worms on this, but I'm just going to say that the 1984 with the attack on the Golden Temple, I know it was the Congress Party that did it, so
What's
is a sour taste. And even my mother, who's not,
I know.
even my
That's why I don't
mother,
want to.
even,
We all empathize.
even
We
my,
all empathize.
even my family are not Khalistanis, right? I think
No, I know.
but let me
I know.
finish. I'm never finished. So my mum is not a Khalistani. She doesn't want a separate state for Punjab. Half of my family, most of my family, but they are very angry about the atrocities of 1984, right? So that
I
has
know.
pushed a lot of people to the Khalistani movement as well, including
I
myself
know,
up to a
G.
point, because there's not been no real justice. So you need to know the same way that where Hindus feel like, okay, we have not got no real justice because for like 1,000 years we've been oppressed. And so now I think you're overcompensating in kind of like going the other way, in my opinion. The same with the Sikhs, right? So I've heard Sikhs say, big up Pakistan, innit? I'm like, dude, why are you saying that for? Pakistan will freaking destroy Punjab if they ever got hold of it. Like, why are you siding with Pakistan? Because Pakistan don't care about Punjab. So any of these people that are supporting Pakistan, thinking that they like the Sikhs, no, they don't give a shit about Sikhs. All they want to do is destabilize India, right? They know if they get rid of Punjab and Punjab becomes a separate state, it will collapse within itself up to some point if Pakistan really wanted to put its foot on its neck. And then India will basically be weakened as well, because Punjab is like the fertile land. There's a lot of Sikh soldiers there and stuff like that from the Indian army. So I'm not somebody that sides with Pakistan. Ban Pakistan, down to Pakistan, man. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not unreasonable. Like, this is what I
No.
see. Yeah, so
I understand, but I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
not unreasonable, because I've seen some Sikh Khalistanis who will say, "Oh, Pakistan would have looked after us better." No, they wouldn't have. You can't
No,
even build
if they want to give, if
So
they
let me
want to give the
let me just
Nankana Sahib back to you, to people whoever are asking for it, then I'm more for it. But
so,
I don't know why we would have a
how
problem
are
with
they?
that. But
How
I
are they
think
taking care of
let's
yeah,
not
but
Sikh?
let me just say
let's
one
not do
thing.
that anymore.
Let me just
Because
say
it's
one thing
never
though
going
about
to come to a place where you, me, and Andy will agree on this, because
yeah, but
we have to
let me
agree
just
to
say one
disagree.
thing about the hypocrisy of Pakistanis in these northern towns saying that Indians are extremists. Pakistan is one of the most extreme countries in the world. It's a basket case. It's literally being held up by China. The only reason it's still surviving is because China is bankrolling it. It has the worst human rights records in the world. A non-Muslim cannot be prime minister, president of that country. Non-Muslims are second-class citizens, and people are being killed on a daily basis for minor infringements, put into prison for blasphemy. People are second-class citizens. On top of that, Pakistan has no leg to stand on when it comes to minorities. The Ahmadiyas are not citizens. The Hindus and Christians are persecuted mercilessly. There used to be 15% Hindus in Pakistan. Now there's only 2%. So this narrative, when I hear Pakistanis saying, "Oh, India, this, India," look, everyone knows I don't support India either. But it's like the pot calling the kettle back, innit? Like, your country's worse. Like, it literally is in its constitution that nobody can run for the top job, and is literally in its constitution as an Islamic supremacist mindset that the Muslim country for Muslims only, and if you're in that country, you're a second-class citizen.
Yeah,
Do you agree
I
with that?
understand. I understand. I thank you for appreciate you giving your point of view, and I think you're my brother regardless of how you think, and I would never say you're not part of me. You will
No, but
always be part of me.
I'm from
I'm
India, right? I'm from India.
I'm
My
way
ancestors go back thousands of years.
way. Both Andy and I come from way down south.
Oh, you're from
And
South. Okay, right.
yeah,
Isn't there
before
a separatist movement in the South as well, though?
no,
I don't support it.
that's see that's
I
the
will
thing.
never
That's the
allow.
thing
I will
about-
never allow my Tamil Nadu to be separated from the country.
Yeah,
I will never
exactly.
allow.
But there is
Never.
a separatist
If I
movement,
have,
though,
if I have to
isn't there?
sacrifice my life,
isn't
I'll
there
sacrifice my life.
isn't there a Tamil Nadu nationalism like movement kind of?
No, no,
It's a-
no, no,
yeah.
no, 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 not
Haven't you
nationalism.
guys heard that guy Hyder Ali on Clubhouse? Hyder Ali.
Oh, you don't all on
The guy
Clubhouse
is
then.
mad. Please don't. Please don't.
No,
Don't
he's
take
is
it
it-
a
seriously.
little. he's
So,
very
gentlemen, is
special.
these the guys that you was talking about on Clubhouse to jump on?
Yes.
Yeah, these are all my Clubhouse friends.
Okay,
Yeah,
does
I'm
Halima
so
go on there
upset.
by any chance?
Oh my God, everybody knows her already.
Oh,
I'm
what a
so
chadel,
sorry.
not
What
gandi,
a
man.
nightmare she
Okay,
is.
that goody, man. Oh, pagal hagi, man. You just need to lock her up, man. Mental institution. And not
I'm
pagal.
telling you
You know,
guys.
oh, hijab on this. She got a hijab here. She looks like a little Muslim woman walking around. Oh, panchoda, kuttiya. I'm gonna get your mother, man. Kuttiya, man. Tanu marna hona. She's mental, man. Roti, today, roti bana. Huh? That's all she needs to do, man. Oh, today, hagi, man. I can't stand it. That woman was on my back here for 2 saal here. On my back like a freaking little
Come on,
chadel.
Raj.
Yeah, scratching me.
Some crazy, you guys,
Nasty,
this is
nasty
the
chadel,
proof
man.
right here. Everybody knows
Dude.
how she's been insane on YouTube for years. We've dealt with this.
You know what happened, yeah? This Kuri is calling everyone bad mothers, right? Yeah. Oh, you're a bad mother. Her daughter nearly drowned. It was in the newspaper. Did you know that?
Oh,
And some freaking kuffar saved her. Huh?
wow.
And all can the kuffars, dirty kuffars. A kuffar saved your kid from drowning. Chadel?
Wow.
Yeah. She's a what?
Yeah,
Is she
we've
still
all-
about though? Is she
No,
still
so
a YouTube?
suffice to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let's not talk about Halima. Halima leaves a bad taste in the mouth. But the point is, the point is,
But did you
Raj,
know that her surname's Benares? Yeah, Benares is the second most pious place for Buddhists, right? So all Hindu
no,
hagi.
no, for Hindus.
No,
Hindus,
For
Hindus.
Hindus.
Oh, Hindus. Oh no, yeah, she's
Yeah,
a Hindu
Benares.
bangi on. Yeah, tell her. She's a Hindu, innit? She goes mad when you call her Hindu.
No, but Raj, just to answer your more important question, there is a movement in South India called the Dravidian movement. But you understand, even then, it's not separatist. It is just this ideology where they're like, we want to keep our identity unique, right? The point is fundamentally that.
Yeah,
However,
they don't-
even with that, if you notice within like so Tamil circles, it is not that we want to separate from the union. We want to stay in the union. We just want our independence in terms of language. Because you see, fundamentally what it is, collaboration is the way to success, right? Individually, we are easy to target. As a group, we are easy to look after, right?
Well, you're
We can
kind of
disagree with
you're kind of similar to me then, because one of the issues I have with India is that I think they're trying to Hindufy the Sikhs, right? And they try to make
No, we're
Hindu.
not.
Arey yaar.
Right, so let me
Raj,
finish.
you know your biggest problem today.
Let me just finish. So one of the things was they tried to make Hindi as a kind of one of the main languages in Punjab, right? And they're trying to kind of
But
push
they
Punjabi
suggest-
out. So
So
what I'm saying
they
to you,
suggest-
I'm actually somebody that would accept a united India, right? Where you have like a
Yes.
united India, like United Kingdom, but each
Yes.
state is like a separate country, right? Within a united India, I would
But
accept that. But each
technically,
state has
why?
a unique
don't think
culture and
anyone-
There's no
unique
utility in that.
languages.
There's no utility in that.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't think anyone needs to get rid of their language.
There is no utility in
Yes.
that.
Yes. And Raj, you were talking about like Hinduize Punjab. The biggest problem today in Punjab is the Christianization. There are missionaries
Yeah, I know,
converting
it's
Sikhs.
crazy. It's
Sikhs
crazy.
know?
are getting
So I
converted
am
out of
upset
it.
about that. I am really upset about that. I'm not
Yeah,
upset about.
yeah. I've heard, my mum's told me about it, that there's a lot of because what
Yeah,
they're doing,
I mean,
they're
we
going
should
in and
see- I was
they're giving money to
Yeah.
like very poor people, and when you're poor and you say, look, you come over here, and so they're
Yes.
giving them
And
money,
that's
and look,
the-
I have no issue with people converting, right? If you believe that something else is better for you, cool. But when you're incentivizing it with cash
Yes.
with the poor people, then
Yes.
what you're doing is emotionally kind of like manipulating them into converting, right?
Correct.
And obviously we know I know to my Muslim brothers out there, half your ancestors were converted by the sword, huh? They can't stand, they don't understand. Most of your relatives will put a sword to your neck and they said, either you convert or we're gonna chop your head off in it. And most of your people were cowards and they converted, huh?
Raj, have you watched the Kashmir Files movie?
I haven't watched the Kashmir Files yet. I'm gonna try and watch it. I mean, look, even with the Kashmir, Guru Tegh Bahadur, Kashmir used to have lots of Hindu pundits and stuff like that. So it was the Hindu pundits from Kashmir that come to Guru Tegh Bahadur because the Mughals were persecuting them, so they had to convert, right? And so this is why he's called I forgot
Punch
what. Guru Tegh Bahadur. So he was forced to convert, right? And he said, look, if you can make me convert, then all the Hindus will convert, right? And they tortured him and they tortured these companions. And then, he never converted. So the Hindus were allowed to stay Hindus, right? So anyone denying the atrocities against India from outside forces since the Mughal invasion up to the British, you're lying to yourselves, right? Like you're lying to yourselves. I, as a Sikh, know that there was an attack on India, right? And majority of people in India at the time were Hindu. So obviously they were going to face the brunt of the atrocities, right? So I'm not against when Hindus are upset about certain things that happened in the past, right? I just don't think the solution is like the way RSS or BJP.
Yeah, but see, you have to see it for what it is, not for the propaganda that is produced. Because, like I said,
I would really suggest you come to India, spend some time in the different states. You will see that you'll see the change in India, Raj. It has become more unified.
I'll get arrested, dude. I'll get arrested. I've done Pindrawala's portrait. You know that.
Don't tell no one that.
We say all kinds of nonsense.
Don't tell people that. Come on, Raj. This is a problem. Okay, listen to me.
But
you don't understand. There is more unification in India in the last 10 years that I've seen in my entire life.
Yes.
Do you know that?
That's true.
I've seen more people from North India speaking Tamil and Kannada randomly saying, how are you, macha? Like, Anna, what is your... Like,
isn't the biggest film there RRR? And that's a South Indian film, isn't it? RRR.
So my point is, we think India is going towards break, but actually it's going through unification. Yes. We are accepting our differences without imposing ourselves on each other. Finally this is happening. And that's why I see positiveness. I can't accept the propaganda because the evidence is pointing the contrary. If it is pointing to the same thing, I would accept it.
Yeah, but but look here, I'm not saying it's the majority. I'm not saying that it's a massive proportion, right? But there is evidence out there, whether it's 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever.
There were people, there is this.
One second. So, Raj, just give me 1 second. So, I've been doing a lot of I've been listening to different sides of the story for months now on Clubhouse, months, right? And not only that, but all the sources that are posted there, all of the references that are posted there, and following this situation, really trying to grasp an understanding. And honestly, what I'm getting from it is that these guys are being portrayed as like the MAGA guys of that stormed the White House on January 7th, right? So we have our nationalist guys that are doing dumb shit and Proud Boys and all this kind of stuff. And they're really just Republicans, or really, some of them are stupid conservatives that are out there doing dumb shit, right? But the larger party is just a conservative party, right?
Yeah.
They don't. It's a right wing and a left wing, and BJP and RSS or whatever, hindutva. You got to play the beginning of the stream where they really broke down the definition of that. Is being portrayed in this way. So there's everything conservative on the face of the planet is being demonized right now as nationalist or ethno-nationalist. These terms have been thrown around. Now, Raj, we've talked to nationalists and ethno-nationalists, and they're not terrorists. They're not hurting anyone. They just love their country and they want the best for their country, right? Some of them may want to chuck you out. Some of them may not want to chuck you out. There's the same thing going on in UK. There's the same thing going on in America. But why does the same thing happen in India and they get shat on like they're the next Nazi fucking party.
Yeah, but Raj, you're sitting here and talking to two guys from Indians. One is from Tamil Nadu, one is from Karnataka, and the other one left. But we both are gay, right? We
You
both
both are what?
gay. We're gay.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Indian gays. Wow.
Yeah. And we have no problem in any Hindutva circle to say I'm gay and we're openly gay. We don't have a problem with that. And Andy is an atheist, right? He doesn't believe in God, whatever.
Oh,
But
I do have
am
a problem with that. You can't be an atheist, man. Dude, come on, man. That's
But
that's taking the piss, isn't it, man?
I'm
only joking. I've got atheist friends, man. I joke around with them. They just
Do you know
like.
Savarkar was an atheist?
Yeah, I don't care. The thing about look, I don't want to go into atheists because I've got friends who are atheists. We're always arguing in it, but I don't know. We just agree to disagree. But the thing is, like, it's quite surprising. I mean, like, look, I have no issue with people, sexuality, whatever, or whatever they want to do and all that. I can disagree, but I can still be like, I've got friends that are gay, right? And and I'm being honest with you, I don't 100% agree with homosexuality. I'm actually somebody that believes in a man and a woman. It's the right thing. But I have no issue with gay people. Like, I don't judge people like that. Like, I can disagree with you, sir.
So
I can be but the way I see it, you have to treat people like human beings, right?
Yes.
And I've never had no gay person being rude to me or trying to beat me up, right?
That's all RSS and Hindutva says is that everybody, it doesn't matter you're transsexual, gay, straight, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever, you need to uplift each human being in their own place and give dignity to themselves. That's what I was explaining before you joined in, that it took 60 years for them to build less than 40% of the toilets in the country. BJP came in 4 years, they built 98% of the toilets in the country, right? They provided gas to cook food in the rural areas, 90% of the people, the gas for the country, right? This all happened within 4 years of BJP coming in. If they're and they did not go and ask, are you
Tell them
Muslim,
about
Christian,
some of
Hindu?
the privileges that BJP is given to minorities of
Yes,
specifically
this is what I'm
the
trying to say,
peaceful
Raj.
community.
You have to see the truth and accept the truth for truth, right? It doesn't matter who it is. Satsariyakal. And that is the fact on the ground, right?
Everyone's calling me gay now. See, just because I got gay friends, I'm automatically gay now. No, you should treat people like you want to be treated, innit? It's so weird, isn't it? Like, I got transgender friend. You love transgenders. Yes. It's like, no, she's a nice person, innit? Like,
yeah, that's it. Period. That's it. You move on, and it is like that's why I'm saying that you don't have to accept exactly 100% of who I am, but you know that I have my own dignity and I have my place. That's all there is to it. And when we come to talk to each other and we do the formalities and we take care of the whatever the transaction that we need to as human beings, and we move on. That's what.
But can you not see how maybe because there's no Muslims, and I can't believe I'm the Muslim representation here today because I'm known as the biggest Islamophobe in the UK, but now I'm here defending the Muslim Ummah. Look, you need to seek to defend you, innit? What can you do? But let me try and be thingy here because I get this. Oh, Raz, they're always doing this to us, and that. Look, there is evidence I've seen here of real atrocious videos. Right? And I know you're going to say they're minorities. I agree with you. India's a billion. 1.4 billion people, a billion Hindus. So obviously you can have some crazy people. The same with the Sikh community, you have some crazy people. The same with the Muslim community. But there is high-ranking BJP officials that have, said some pretty outrageous stuff. Like there was a lady in a meeting, I can't remember where it was. She was talking about we must go out there and we will kill X amount of Muslims, blah blah blah. I mean, is this all propaganda?
Well, but that doesn't project on the party, right? If people will have whatever their breakdown and then go on with it, right? If I come and tell you tomorrow I am really good with you, I agree with everything, and suddenly one day you hear me scream out, does that mean that all the Hindutva believes what I just said? No, that's what I'm saying.
If you're head of a particular movement and you have a lot of followers, then I have to take you more seriously. Now, if you're an individual,
if you go on the same line, are you condemning all Muslims for
wait.
No. That's what I said.
Let's make it more clearer. Let's make this more clear. So, Raj, okay, let's assume someone made a very controversial, problematic statement. Effectively, what we will look for is whether that person's problematic statement translated to on the ground some action, right? They can make very problematic statements, but the point is, if nothing actually happens on the ground, that means no matter how high you are, your effect was negligible. You made the statement, it was problematic, people just like, whatever, he talked nonsense, let's move on, right?
But I can give you an example of other side which happened. which they said, and people went
Right.
and cut the head of the
Okay.
person.
Exactly. So the point is fundamentally this: Muslims are not under threat. See, if Muslims are under threat, there would not be such high amount of illegal immigration coming in from Bangladesh, coming in from Myanmar. Right? The Rohingyas came running to India. Why didn't they go to China? Because
Well,
they
look,
realized
I
they're
personally
safer.
look here. I personally believe India, as it's kind of like, you know, it's modeled itself in a secular democracy with human rights, has a higher standard to abide by, right? Now, Pakistan, we know, is a basket case. It's a literal freaking dirty country, right? Sorry.
No, I get
And
that, but can
the
you tell me
thing
why
is
they
that I
came
don't
here
hold,
then?
when it comes to Pakistan, I don't hold them to any standards, right? Because the whole thing about Pakistan is based upon oppression of you know, the way the country was formed and everything, like. So I have no standards for them. But if you have a country like India, that's now the 5th largest economy, it prides itself on being the biggest, largest secular democracy, and then you have to hold them to a higher standard, right? Like, if you got a dumb kid in a class
So
and
when
you
you
got a
It's a
come,
clever
what's
and you
your
got a
brand new
clever
response?
kid
country.
and
It's
you
a
got a clever
brand
kid,
new
wouldn't you want
country.
to? And you're teaching them maths, and the dumb kid can't answer
But
nothing.
what is the
But
standard?
also the clever kid ain't answering nothing. You're going to hold the clever kid more to a higher standard, right? Like, why aren't
Yeah,
you
but
answering the questions?
what is the standard specifically talking about? Like, I'm curious, what is this high standard you're referring to?
So, firstly, that India should not be run according to a theocracy, right? Where theocracy is like Pakistan is run according to
Well,
Islam, right?
But we can
And
I
wait,
so,
have
but
a
India
news
can
for
never
you.
wait. Let me tell you. India can never run like a theocracy because Hinduism is not a single religious tenet. It is a diverse set of ideas. It can never be run as a theocracy. It's impossible.
Impossible.
That fear
right,
is
so
that fear is
it's trying to,
unjustified.
right, so it's trying to mix some thoughts, sort of kind of like a mixture of light theocracy, where Hinduism as a culture,
You
maybe not as
can't.
a
There will be no
religion, is
theocracy.
Are you
You
is
talking
cannot.
about
Theocracy.
Hindu
You
Rashtra? So
cannot.
maybe you guys
You
maybe
cannot have
explain.
a Hindu as a unison because it is impossible.
Impossible.
It is impossible. There are,
Maybe you guys
because you just
explain what
call
they
us
mean.
Hindu, that is the biggest misconception of outsiders. They don't understand what a Hindu means. A Hindu does not mean we all believe just because we all go and worship. When we see Shiva's statue, we say Namaste to Shiva and we say Namaste to Vishnu. Does not really mean we say Namaste to Shiva and Vishnu. There are people who only think Shiva should be the god. There are people who think only Vishnu, but we don't fight
Exactly.
about it. There is a
Yeah.
big difference, Raj. There are over 16 different way of worshiping God that you don't accept each other's way of doing it.
Mm.
That is the problem. It's not. It's like imagine 16 different Sikhi within Hinduism. That's who we are. Just,
yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
I
maybe break
understand.
down.
Hinduism is
Hold
a
on.
group of
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry, Jim. Sorry.
I was gonna say maybe explain to him Hindu Rashtra and what that would entail.
See, again, this is an ongoing discussion about what a Hindu Rashtra would mean. So, for example, me and as an atheist may not be able to describe it as effectively as another Hindu might be. But from what I can understand is they want to live by, they want to first of all have the freedom to pray as they feel like it, right? They want to be able to pray to the gods they want. They don't want to be basically affected by the state, right? They don't want interference by the state. They want to have their temples back. So right now the Indian government controls their temples, right? They can't control their own temple, so they want the temples to be freed.
And the
This is very
Indian
interesting.
government only controls the Hindu temples, correct? The
Exactly.
mosques and
correct.
the
Yeah.
It
Christian
doesn't control
churches.
Christian churches. It doesn't
Right.
control
Yes.
gurudwaras.
Right.
It
Doesn't
doesn't
not
control.
even Gurudwaras. Not even Gurudwaras.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it doesn't control gurudwaras. It doesn't control mosques. Only Hindu temples. Only
Yes.
Hindu temples.
And interestingly, so a lot of Hindus want that freedom. They want to have a open architecture where they can run their religious institutions the way they want. Second thing, they want they want India to be run on dharmic values, not on dharmic religion. Because fundamentally you can't run it on dharmic religion because there are different mutts in different parts of India, plus the tribal religions, plus the people who are not specifically like they agnostic like me or atheist like me, who don't like the religion won't work right as a single construct. They want dharmic values, people who believe in dharma, believe in duty, believe in focusing on what can you do for society. Those things they want to run it on.
Self-improvement,
Self-improvement, yes, those kind of things, right? Yoga.
self-responsibility.
Exactly. So that is what they want to build in the Hindu Rashtra. It is not meant to be a single theological like who will run it? Will the South Indian mathas run the Rashtra? No. Will the East Matha run the Rashtra? No. Will the
Asivagam will run it. Asivagam.
Yeah, but what if right? So right,
And
so
we will call it Lemuria.
yeah, but the problem is this here. Look, if you're a secular democracy, right, then even if you disagree with someone's religious beliefs, I disagree strongly with certain aspects of other people's beliefs, but that's their belief. So how would you, if you got
But that
a
is dharma.
system run a system run on there?
Dharma says ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. That means one truth, but many wise people say it in different way. Nobody has problem with that. Nobody. You see, the before all this secular wicular thing, the Muslims came and stayed in India, right? The second oldest masjid in the world, oldest. This was built during the time of Muhammad, is in Kerala, in Cheramman, Kerala, right? The oldest Syrian continuous Syrian Christian church is today in Kerala.
Yeah, I mean the Shias originally went to India because of
Yes,
persecution from the Sunnis. So there's a lot of Shias in the area.
fires still burning in Gujarat, right?
Yeah, not in the 900s they went to
Yes,
for actually sanctuary in India. Originally went to sanctuary in India. So
we did not need secularism to tell. There is a temple that was built in my state, Karnataka, 1200 years ago. It already said Yamshaivaha Samupasate Shivaiti Brahmaiti Vedantina Buddha Buddhaiti. Unfortunately Sikhism was not there, otherwise it would have been added to that one as well. It basically says everybody says different things about the Vaheguru, Omkar, but I call you this name, so accept for all of these people, I'm giving you this, accept this as what I'm calling you.
Yeah, but they don't. So somebody else. I'll give you an example. When I talk to certain different, if I say to somebody, "Oh, the creator is the creator," right? Whether you call him Waheguru, whether you call him God, Ram, you call him Allah, it's the creator, right? Like that's unsensible to me. Like the word, the name is not important. It's the fact that
and most Hindus
the
will agree with you.
But Hindus agree with that. I was like, Hindus agree with that. Buddhists agree with that.
Yeah,
but Abrahamic
no
faiths
problem
do
with
not agree with that, right?
Exactly.
Like if you say this, they will go to you. No, it's Allah, right? So how do you then bring those people into the Indian diaspora?
We don't need to.
Kind of
they can live their life.
They
That's
don't
what I'm
believe.
trying to
They
tell
have
you.
a opposing view.
The Syriac Christians lived their life for 1,000 years. The Jews lived for 2,000 years in India. The Parsis lived their life for 1,000 years in India. They did not have to do anything with the Hindu. You do your thing.
So like for example, Parsis don't accept the idea that all gods are the same. They believe in Ahura Mazda. But that does not mean that we Hindus have conflict with them, because they didn't have conflict with us. You understand? There's no conflict with people who have no conflict with us.
Dude, I said to you, when
like
I got to a mandir, I'm not made to feel uncomfortable, right?
Dalai Lama.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't get that, Jen.
I was saying, and I would like to thank the Indian government for hosting His Holiness the Dalai Lama to actually run another government from their
Correct.
Absolutely.
Excellent point, Jen. And this is the problem that I have with the West that keeps on talking all this nonsense about secularism and helping the people and making the world a better place. And this most non-violent, peaceful people who want to exist did not have any place to go in this world. And they needed help. And no country wanted to take them except India. So thanks to India again, right? Good point, Jen. So the point is, we don't have a problem with anybody doing their own thing, right? Like nothing. Like that's why we can coexist anywhere in the world. We don't have, because in dharmic places, dharmic faiths don't try to convince you why you should do what I do.
No. Like I said, I've been to a mandir, and nobody tried to kind of like shove anything down my throat in terms of religion, right? And when Hindus go to see Gurdwara, we don't even talk about religion, right? If Christians come to it, but there is a very different mindset from Abrahamic faith, right? And they've now come into India and the Indian subcontinent. So how do you live side by side with the mentality that they have? They become much more aggressive over the time with social media and the thing. So there's like, so I think, in my opinion, like when you think about Hindus, right? Over the time, Hindus don't really have a reputation of being intolerant to other religions, right? India, yeah. But I do believe what's happened is, like, imagine like you're a person that keeps getting beaten up, right? You keep getting beaten up, getting beaten, and one day you say, "I've had enough," right? And then next thing you know, you're going around beating everyone else up, right? So I think what this is kind of happening to Hindus, right? I think they're fed up of being at the backhand of all these kind
No,
of invasions,
but even
and
Hindus even today.
I think they're overcompensating in India in
No,
some
no, no, no.
areas.
Because even today, how many do you think? You see, you have no idea what's going on in India in the south. The amount of the crypto Christians that are piling up everywhere. You know, this happens today. This guy was printing. He was given a chore to print the receipt for the biggest temple in South India called Tirupati. He was printing a receipt, and in the back, the ad that was given is free trip to Israel if you convert to Christianity. Can you imagine? Imagine, you think this is such a horrible fascist country and fascist Hindu people. Can you imagine you do that to Mecca? Can you imagine you do that to anybody else? Anybody else? Forget it. Forget Mecca. Any other religion? Can you imagine in the back of the receipt that you go and you pay for your whatever you're getting from the temple, church, synagogue,
I'm
whatever,
not
and in
sure
the
that
back
would
of
be
it,
allowed in the USA.
yeah,
I'm trying to think. Like, I'm not sure that
You get killed
that
in
would be
Pakistan, man,
within
or
the
yes.
legal.
Saudi
Like the
Arabia.
And then you cannot call
You'll be dead.
right.
people fascist, and they're trying to
Yeah,
overcompensate. No, they're
Yeah,
just
but the
fighting to say,
Constitution, the comment constitution said, "Don't become the monsters you are trying to defeat." Right? Like I've been in this
No,
situation. People
but
know, right?
Raj.
So let me
no,
finish my
but
sentence.
Raj,
Let me just finish
Raj,
my
no,
sentence. Right?
Raj,
Please, I beg
no,
you, let me
Raj,
just finish my
listen,
sentence.
I have to push back. It is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. You cannot go in front of another holy place and tell them that their God is not true. You cannot
That's
print
the
the ticket
definition of hate
saying that you
speech.
convert to
Of
That's the
course it is.
Christianity.
I
definition of
mean,
hate
look,
speech.
yeah, I said this on my channel, right? Now there was groups of Hindus going around Jai Shri Ram, right? And there were people getting upset. But I've heard people say Allahu Akbar in front of my face whenever there's an argument, wherever. So to the Muslims out there, like someone saying Jai Shri Ram, yeah, if you're upset with that, then you should be upset with people saying Allahu Akbar, right? Because it's
Yeah,
the same thing. People are chanting
exactly.
a particular. I say
So,
Raj
but
Kaliga
you
Khalsa,
know,
right?
in even
So
today,
I see the hypocrisy, right? I
exactly.
face
But
the
So, Raj,
no,
do
hypocrisy,
that's
you
right?
not
know
just
why they
hypocrisy.
did
This is an
that?
everyday living for people in
Right.
India, the Hindus. You have as many masjids as temples in India, and each masjid has a speaker, and then they have haza in the morning every morning, right?
And did you know
No,
you can't
How is
build new?
how
I
is
don't
it a
even see
fascist country?
Raj.
How is it
I
a
don't even
fascist
see it
country?
comparable. I
How is
don't.
the Hindu?
One by
Allah
one,
Akbar
guys,
is a
please.
uh, Allah Akbar is a supremacist slogan. To me, Jai Shri Ram and Vaheguru Ki Jai are similar
Now we
slogans.
say
They like.
Raj Kaliga Khalsa means the Khalsa will
Oh,
be
sorry, my
Why you
bad.
go to the
eliminated.
Khalsa? Why you go to the
No,
Khalsa?
Raj Kaliga Khalsa, Raj Kaliga Khalsa,
Hmm.
Raj
Okay,
Kaliga Khalsa. So it's different.
okay, fine.
So what I'm saying, just for argument's sake, I'm not saying they
If
are
you
the same,
respect your
right?
God, it's fine. But telling
But
other people they
what I'm
should
saying
not
is that
listen to their God is fine.
I have been in loads of situations, and you can see them online. When there's a problem with groups of Muslims, they'll start saying Allahu Akbar to me, Takbir. And I'm like, hold on a second, this ain't a religious war, right? So when Hindus are now doing it, they're up in arms. Like, how dare they do it? But dude, if you're gonna do that, then don't cry when someone else does it, right?
But let
But
me address your
nobody
point.
screams Jai Shri Ram before they blow themselves up. Like
Well, that's
nobody.
another thing, right? Yeah, I mean, I agree. There hasn't been no.
No,
But
I've
if
never,
I
you
wanted
I've
to
but
never.
Raj,
tackle this other point.
if you look at the reason, why were they going? Why were the Hindu boys protesting in the streets for no reason? Were they doing that for no reason? Like the
I
video
want to. I
that
want
was
to
up.
try and find out, Jen. Yeah, I mean, trying
So
to find out from my
I'm
relatives,
gonna
right?
send
But
you.
look, look,
I'm
look.
gonna send you some links. But
Yeah.
listen. So from what I'm finding out is that this was started before the cricket game, but the cricket game was really what set it off. But you know how the UK has this thing with like football hooligans, right? So they're pushing the cricket thing. So
But it
there
wasn't
was a
about cricket.
Ganesh. No, there was a Ganesh. I don't know if it was a parade or
It's an idol, I
something.
think. They
But
threw some stuff at
they
it. Yeah.
threw, yeah. So there were. Oh, that's right. It was in a guy's car, and they threw some. Didn't they carjack him and rip him out the car and beat his ass? I could find the post on Twitter. So this is why they did that. Like it it was a
No, Jen Wallace.
reaction.
Jen Wallace. Look, I'm the last person to say you shouldn't defend yourself, right? I think you have to defend yourself physically. If people are violating you, you can't defeat them with flowers, right? If you got
No,
a
but
freaking
I
that's that.
know,
But what I'm
but
saying,
there's a
so if they
horrible
truly, if they
narrative.
But what I'm saying, if they truly were being violated, and look, from past experience, Sikhs have experienced it, and even in, in the north here of England, where all this happened, even in 2013. Shall I just show you? Let me just show you what happened in
No, no, but
2000.
before we go to that, Raj, I got a question for you. So in the UK, right, the number of Muslims and number of Hindus are almost around the same. I mean, the numbers are
There's a
almost the
million. No,
same,
there's
right?
actually more than Sikhs. It's double the amount.
Okay, okay. My point is fundamentally this: if this itself can cause a sort of conflict, right? Imagine if you're saying that Hindus are overcompensating right now. The proportion of Hindus to Muslims in India is almost like like 4:1. If you're overcompensating, you won't see one video or two videos. You will see like millions of videos. The point is fundamentally this: the restraint that Hindus show in the face of non-stop provocation, right, is incredibly high. See, you have to understand when everyone's showing restraint like a great level, and one or two people are just can't resist anymore. You can't say it's overcompensation. Some people just they're not able to restrain anymore. You see,
Yeah,
that's
can
the
I just
point.
quickly, because there's a narrative going around that in Leicester is the beacon of. Can you share the screen? Is the beacon of kind of communal kind of harmony between Sikhs, Muslims, and Hindus. Let me just show you a situation in Leicester in 2013. A restaurant was attacked by 40 Sikhs, right? So 7 men have been jailed for taking part in a revenge attack on a crowded restaurant. It was a Pakistani restaurant. Hot curry was
Yeah.
poured over. Let me just explain what happened. There was a girl in there from a Sikh background that was being groomed, right? She was being prostituted at the top. She was an underage girl. So the Sikhs got together, 40 of them, and they stormed that place, right? And they bashed it open. 7 of them went to prison. So there has been tension in the north anywhere, and for years between the Pakistanis and the Sikhs in the northern towns, Birmingham, you name it, Manchester, all of these places. It's been going for a long.
And there was a story, I don't know how true that was. There was a
Watch.
story of a restaurant that was adding feces or something in food of people when they came to
This is a different one. A girl was being prostituted out, groomed
right. No, I get it.
at the top of the thingy. So 40 Sikhs went in and destroyed the restaurant and beat people up in it. They went a bit far, but like I'm saying, I'm not against violence, right? And I'm not against people defending themselves. If someone's coming to my house and my mum's living there, if you die in the process of trying to get into my house, it's not my fault, is it? I'll take the repercussions, but you can't violate people's thingy. Now, what I'm saying is this: like, there's so many stories going around of who did what, right? Now, I've heard some stories that one thing's for sure, what is false: the Hindus did not kidnap a girl. That's been proven to be wrong. The Hindus 100% didn't tear up the Quran. That's been proven to be wrong. But there has been proven that a guy was beaten up by around 20 kind of like Hindu guys. Now, I don't know reason why he was beaten up or what led to that. Maybe he done something crazy and then they just done it in retaliation. But I had to say, look, you can't go through an area all masked up, right, in a group of 40, 50 men without there being some kind of repercussion afterwards. Do you understand?
Did you see
Like, it's
the
going to
group of
antagonize
guys in
people then.
Birmingham? Did you see the Muslim mob in Birmingham? Like a couple hundred of them.
Yeah, but the thing
There
is,
was like 2 of them without masks on.
dude, they're
They're
pussies,
standing-
man. Let me tell you something. They're pussies, right? What I'm saying to you, don't be worse than them, right? I would never go to a mosque or a mandir
I don't
standing
think
outside
they
saying,
are.
"Oh, I
And I
drink, you
think
drink," because there's a video of, "Oh, you drink cow piss," and grabbing their crotch, right? Like, it's disgraceful behavior, and God will punish these people for doing that. So I'm saying, and he's also burning the Hindu flag, right? If you've done that at Gurdwara within the Nishan Sahib, you may not walk out alive, right? So I
I mean, it's
agree. The Hindu community, when it comes to their religious places, are being attacked. Now, I am the first one to agree because remember Faz and them not sent some. Remember that guy come to my Gurdwara. Remember that Muslim guy, and they filmed it. Remember, and they were talking shit to my Gyanni. Remember. So I've got it on. I got it on recording. Yeah, someone went to my temple. Some Muslims are known to go to people's temples, right? They don't give a shit. And also, Faz put my local temple name out, the email address, the thing, and told people to come to my Gurdwara, right? So they do not have boundaries. Yeah, when it comes to Hindu temples or Gurdwara, they see it as fair game. But we should not do the same thing, right?
Nobody does that, So the whole point about this is that um, you cannot say 1,000 times you forgive them, and one time that somebody stand up to them suddenly they're fascist and this and that. That shouldn't be
I've
done.
not said that, dude. I've not said that.
So
I've
that's
said that I have not seen no indication that these people
right.
are from
No,
RS
but that's
or
what
BJP.
that's the prevailing.
I know this
rhetoric.
is what's so dangerous. This is what
Yes.
Muhammad Hijab, these people are doing are dangerous.
Yes.
What's gonna happen? I have my sisters live. I have my family, my sister living there. People can't tell the difference between her and a Hindu. If my family get attacked because of this madness, where you're accusing people of being RSS, BJP, that kind of stuff, and then other innocent people are getting caught in the crossfire, then these people should be held accountable for inciting religious hatred, right? And violence.
There's
And this is
Okay,
what they've been doing.
leaving
Jen,
their
Jen,
homes. Oh,
I was sick the whole time, but right now my headache has gotten quite high, quite bad. So I just like to take leave of everyone. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Raj, for the conversation. Thank you, Life. See you around later. Thank you
Yeah,
for the
definitely.
conversation, even in the chat. I know some of you all are very aggressive, but you understand that in the long term, karma is the only thing that makes sense, because whatever happens, you give into the put into the world will have consequences in your life. So just try to be a little bit more peaceful. Don't be so aggressive. Try to
They
live with
want
your
to go
fellow
on a
man.
date with you. They want to go on a date with you, Andy.
No, I'll date someone else. Not a problem.
No, give
Thank you,
them.
guys.
A lot of these guys are
thank you,
looking
Auntie
for
Jen.
men, man.
I hope you feel better. Thank you so much. I appreciate your
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Jen.
appreciate everyone talking, man.
conversation.
Like I said, man. But ignore those trolls, man. They're all pussies, man.
No, have a good evening, the people in the UK, and bye bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye,
Okay.
Andy. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think
I,
you know, if you wanna, if you, I'm gonna go as well.
yeah, I'm ready to go too. So, but
Okay,
it was nice. It was nice talking with you. But all I can say is, you can have your opinion, but do a little bit more research and find out what happened and
Well,
what
I'm ready to
happened.
learn, man. I'm not
Yeah.
anybody that thinks they know everything is
No,
dumb,
I
innit?
don't either. I'm always
No, I'm
learning
saying
every day.
anybody
I'm
that
learning.
thinks they know
Raj,
everything are
you
dumb.
should listen. You should listen to Pro India Sikhs. They're on Clubhouse. They speak all the
All right, so I
time.
have
They're
family members that are pro-India Sikhs, right? My mom's not
right, but
against
they're
India.
more on the
My sisters
political
are not against
side.
India. My cousins are not against India. I'm not one of
No,
the only ones that are like Khalistani in my family, innit? So we're not.
right,
My
right.
family goes India all the time, and so they love India, right? So we're
Yeah.
not. And I'm not anti-India. I don't go around. One of the problems I have with Khalistanis is they become to the point where they equate India with Hindus, right? And so they sometimes show anti-Hindu hatred, and I've seen it myself. And they will side with Pakistan in order to, I don't know, hurt India. And it's just stupid, isn't it? Like, is
Where in the
Khalistan going to
long
have
run
a
they will hurt themselves. It's not going to help them at all. And
No,
I think
Pakistan doesn't have no care for
that's
India,
the
no care for Punjab at
yeah.
all. Yeah, all they
All
want to
right.
do
It
is
was so
destabilize India.
nice chatting with you guys. And Jen, thanks for
Thank you
opening
so
up this one.
much,
I'll talk
Life
to you later,
Balance.
okay?
Yeah, I appreciate you so
Anyway,
much.
life
Thank
balanced. It
you
was
so
good to
much.
talk to you.
Okay. Talk to you
Have a
guys
good
later.
day.
Bye.
Oh, how's it going, Jen? Sorry
Oh
about
my
that, man. I know I
goodness.
took over, man.
I
So
had no idea. Like I feel bad because like
no, don't feel bad. I mean, you
I
dealt with it
didn't
how you had
know
to
that
deal with it,
there's
innit?
such a. I mean, I knew that there was like a thing, but I didn't. I don't.
No, I think what's happened is that the kind of maybe interactions they've had with other kind of like Punjab separatists has been quite maybe non-productive, right?
It's abysmal. It's terrible. In the last couple of days, it's been so bad, and there's been so many rooms where people they've just been screaming at and people are like starting to catch on because it's a popular and there'll be hundreds of people in there like, what is the Hindu Sikh problem or conflict, and like
Also,
it's
it's all going on in the clubhouse with the Sikhs and the
yes,
Hindus.
dude, yeah, but then like the Muslims and the Hindu, like it's crazy.
Well, the thing
Like,
is, look, even if I am a Punjab separatist in terms of I want a separate homeland for the Punjab, right? That doesn't mean I hate India in terms of India. Remember, the concept of India as a country is only since 1947, the India you see today, right? India has been around for thousands of years. I don't deny that, Indian Hindus have been at the brunt for the last 800-900 years of colonization from outside forces, right? And their temples have been desecrated, they've been subjugated and stuff like that. And Sikhs have also got the brunt of it as well. So, yeah, I just hope that people
it's just
can.
crazy, like listening to different sides because I was listening to one woman from the Punjab speak, and it was like the Sikhs who were going through telling the Hindus to get out, and her family actually like got pushed out of there, and that was like something I had no clue about. And it's just like you hear all these different sides of the story, and it's like India, it's blowing my mind, my guy. Like,
Yeah, but I think, look,
so
the problem is
intense.
this: yeah, even people that are not against India are angry with India, right? Sikhs.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's because of 1984, right?
Yeah, I
Because of what
understand.
happened,
Of
right?
course,
We
of
have had
course.
not had the justice. Imagine the most holiest place of a religion was
I
bombed, right?
understand.
Whether you agree with how it got to that stage, or whether you believe that it was that, the point is innocent people died, right? And then riots happened after in
Mhm.
Delhi, where thousands of Sikhs were rounded up and burned alive, and all this kind of stuff, and no one has really been brought to justice. Some of these people are still in positions of power. So even my mum, who's not anti-India in terms of a Khalistan, is angry about that. So this is probably the kind of like, the one thing that, India really wanted to show that it was trying to move forward. They should bring these people to justice, right? Because it's what pushed me to the Khalistani movement, right? I become more mellow now, right? Yeah, I'm more of a Punjab separatist. I believe
Mhm.
that Punjab should be secular with a democracy, with Hindus and Sikhs and all the religions together. And before I was more of a Khalistani, where I believed it should be run on religious law, and it should be a Sikh homeland and stuff. So my kind of views have shifted, yeah, over
So do you
time.
see how you even in the UK can have such strong feelings about what's going on over there? Like,
Mm.
that's in my opinion, or what I've been seeing, this is the sentiment from a lot of people from over there on the Indian, like, right wing, right? Like, they're
Mm.
fed up, they're
Yeah, yeah, and
tired
this is what I was
of
saying to you. It's like, imagine you're getting beaten up every day,
how much,
and then one
like,
day you
longer.
just decide to fight back, right? And but the
I mean,
problem is sometimes when you fight back, you can become like, even myself at times when I look back, I
mhm,
became the person that I was didn't want to be, right? Like you
mhm.
become the devil you don't want to be. So in order for me to survive and
And
like
there's
thinking, I
Kashmiris that,
become
like,
pretty
right.
freaking ruthless, right?
No, I know.
Yeah,
And
I had
there's
to, and I had to be, because I felt like I was being pushed into corners, right? And the only
mhm.
way for me to show my kind of like way to show them was to say, look, I'm not going to compromise, blah blah blah, and I'm going to just show you that I'm made of stone and stuff. But ultimately, I was harming myself, and this is the problem. I think India, with the BJP and the RSS, actually hurting themselves as well in the long term. The Hindus are getting
I think
kind of
there's a
branded the
lot
same,
of,
all the same now, yeah,
right,
and they're
because
not. We
there's a
know that.
lot of negative media coverage going on, and every time somebody says, like, you might as well just say fascist MAGA supporters or fascist Trumpers. That's literally like all it is. And I think, like, you know what happens over there, they have so much more people than we have in America. But we watched American police beat people to death.
Mm.
That's not happening. They're still killing people. There's still, you could say, a huge class, um not well, system, huge in America. You have your high class, you have your low class, who's systematically shat on by the government. You have minorities over here who are pissed off and thinking that they're not getting justice. And it's like, why? I just wonder, like,
Yeah, but
why.
don't you believe, like, what I don't know. This is what I believe, is that when countries are based around certain kind of principles, right? Like America's
Mhm,
supposed to be the beacon of freedom and stuff, and then they're doing all this effery. Isn't it? Isn't
mhm.
it? Shouldn't it be held to a higher standard? Like, I believe India should be held to a higher standard, right? Because its formation, they said they're a secular democracy, human rights stuff. We know Pakistan, what it's about, innit? So it's like,
Right, but
if
that's
if
the
if there's
thing,
if
like,
there's
what
a thief
country is?
robs, if a thief robs, you don't really get surprised, innit? But if
Right.
your local
But
kind of
what's the
priest suddenly
standard,
jumped in,
though? What
I know
country
that's the
are,
problem, innit?
like, if America's not living up to the standard, who's living up to the standard? China? Yeah, okay. Look what they do to their minorities and get away with it on a global scale. Russia, look at what they're literally doing to their minorities. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
can
it's
I just
like,
quickly just once you said this, I just want to address one thing quickly from Anon.
mm,
Oh, can I do it now? You want to? Sorry, I'll cut you mid sentence, man. So
no,
very
go
rude.
for it, man.
Yes,
I'm in.
Anon. Yeah, I think the Congress Party need to be held to account, right? And if the BJP want to do that, do it in it, because it wasn't the BJP that were giving out the electoral register of Sikhs in Delhi. Yeah, so it was the Congress Party kind of members that, and there was a Congress that was in power that basically allowed the Sikhs to be massacred en masse. Yeah, because of Indira Gandhi being assassinated. So yeah, Congress Party need to be held to account, and the BJP, if they want to do it, do it. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna look. General, look, these guys seem like cool dudes, right? and they had some good points. But I still, believe that there is a problem with the RSS in particular, right? Now, if you want to argue the BJP is a more of a moderate kind of, political wing that has to adjust its view, because I think the BJP is a bit like, Sinn Féin from Ireland. We have Sinn Féin and IRA, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just see it as the Republican Party. That's India's Republican Party. I mean, look at the what was it in Sweden? Like what their Republican Party, like they're
Yeah,
going
but
through
do you have
national
Republicans going out killing people for doing things against Christianity? That, like, like in India, they're killing people for eating beef in it, or anyone that has dissenting.
right?
You,
But
you
again,
saw
what
you
I
saw the
learned
guy that
about
come on here.
look,
He couldn't even have a conversation with me
no,
about
I feel
Khalistan, right?
terrible about that.
Like,
But
it
listen,
wasn't that. It wasn't that. We could. The other guys did, and we could have a civil
yeah,
conversation. But if you
let me
can't
tell
even
you
have a
what
conversation,
I know. Let me tell you what I learned about the beef thing, right? So, like, it's wrong to take mob vigilante violence, right? But most of the places that those things have happened in are states where beef is literally banned. Like, you can't buy it or sell it in the state. You can't kill it. Or I think it's only certain ones, or maybe, but there's different variations of different laws, but it's highly illegal. It'd be like smuggling drugs. So I don't know if you've ever watched videos of the way that they smuggle cows, but it's they like tie their horns together with like bamboo sticks or something that will float. So like just their nose is like tipping above water, and a lot of them drown, a lot of them die. Like it in a place, I don't know. Can you buy pig in Mecca? Can you eat pork in Mecca? Is pig allowed to be sold in Mecca? I don't know.
yeah. But this is where the problem occurs, right? Because we know that when it comes to Muslim countries, they're hypocrites, right? We know that. We know that they will say we want equal rights when they're in the West, but in their own countries they don't want equal rights, and they want to have basically themselves as supreme, right? So when I hear Muhammad Hijab saying hindutva believe that their particular religion is the best and all that, and that we are the better than everyone else, you actually believe the same thing, but about Islam, right? And you actually have a system under Sharia that puts people into second-class citizenship. The point is, we know these countries are like this, right? But India is not supposed to have these religious laws in terms of, a theocracy, right? You understand? It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be a secular democracy. So even if those laws are in particular areas, right, going around killing people for it is unacceptable.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. That's why I started to, like, I'm not condoning vigilante violence, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that you have to. And look, I have seen videos like,
I've seen them too. I've seen them too.
and it's not just your random RSS guy, right? It's high-ranking RSS people calling for mass genocide of people. Now, even the organization that rates I should have said this, who rates the kind of levels that genocides happen, and they have a rating system up to 8, right? They have India at 5, I think.
I want you to send me those. Send me
Yeah, so this kind of, and when it hits 8, then it gets to a genocide, right? So I'm not saying it's the majority, but the Hindutva RSS party has 6 million active members.
I did a whole room about that Genocide Watch website on what's the name? I don't know if it got recorded or not, but I went through that Genocide Watch website, like kind of like place by place. There's like 6 or 7 Muslim countries on there, but anyway, the way that they portray India versus like the way that they portrayed the genocide in Indonesia happening against the ethnic new, is it Papuans? I don't know how to say it. Papuans. The wording is completely different. They don't call them thugs. They don't mention that it's because of religion, except for one small sentence on the bottom. But it's like when they're talking about India, it's like, oh, these Hindutva thug gangs will go and do this and this and this. But like, how come the Taliban thug gangs aren't being portrayed like that? And there's Afghanistan's on the
We know that the
genocide
Sikhs have
watch.
been
So it's like,
genocided out of Afghanistan. Hinduism and Buddhism was actually the religion of that land. There's
so
nothing left. So
Right,
we look.
right. So there's
The point. The
places
point is we.
where
Look, the
actual
point.
genocides have happened, in places that people are putting a narrative that a genocide is in place when it may or may not actually be like that.
Look, when you're looking at the past, unfortunately, we don't have accurate records, man. We have certain kind of, like written things. We don't have the video footage. We have nothing. So today, obviously, with the mass media, we have a better way of recording, situations that are flaring up and could possibly be a genocide. And this is the problem. Whatever's happened in the past has happened, right? I know, and I 100% know that India has had multiple genocides, right? From the Islamic conquerors up to the British, right? That has happened. Now, people can deny it. Yeah? There's no way I can prove it. Yeah? I can't dig up the bodies, right? Now, nowadays, if if you can prove that something might happen, right? It's in the responsibility of people around there to call that out and make sure it doesn't happen again, right? That doesn't mean that you ignore the past. So in India, I'm sorry, it is getting messy, right? People are getting riled up. You'll see Muhammad Hijab and them. Have you watched Indian TV? Like, it's freaking mad. Like, it's proper
Yeah.
mental.
Well, I
It's
can't
not normal. I'm
understand
sorry,
that.
it's not the times now. This that the way they. Do you know how I know they're crazy? Because the way they describe Khalistanis, right?
Mm.
So I hear them talking about Khalistan because sometimes I'm listening. I say that's not too bad. Then I hear them say these Khalistani extremists, these terrorists, Khalistanis. I'm like, hold on, I'm a Khalistani. I'm not an extremist, right? So they're branding me. So I can kind of then when I hear them talking about certain other things, extremes, and I have to kind of question that as well, right? Because I know they're lying
Exactly.
about the
So when people
Khalistanis.
say RSS extremist and hindutva extremist, you kind of have to think, well, they're calling me extremist, like, and that's not true. So what's to say that
Yeah, I mean,
calling them
maybe
an
I'm doing
extremist
this. Maybe
is
I'm
true?
doing the same thing, and I'm trying to kind of like be a bit more nuanced in it. I do believe that people that vote for the BJP or are BJP are kind of more Hindu nationalists, right? And so I kind of do put them in a different bracket. But if I
But
hear
there's
someone's part of the,
Muslims who were in the BJP. There's
but
Muslims
there's
who
Sikhs
voted
in the
for the
BJP.
BJP.
I showed you the guys at Sikh.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so it's like we had two choices. We could have voted for Hillary or we could have voted for Trump. Do you know how many people were like, fuck Hillary and just voted for Trump because that was the other option and there's no other option?
And I believe that's happened in
You know,
Modi.
right.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say. I don't believe what I said earlier in the even thing. I believe most Indians didn't really have a choice. They had to choose between two parties. Both of them are pretty much, it's like none of them are really doing it. So they just chose the one they think is going to do the best for them. It doesn't mean they're 100% aligned with their ideology. So when people are saying India is a fascist BJP run country, I don't believe that. I believe that most people there just voted for the
Doesn't
BJP because they think
hardly
that they're
meet
going to be.
any of the criteria of fascism. Like if you look up the definition of fascism, it doesn't. It's dude. I don't
Hey,
know.
Chris, you little puddy, that you go back to your freaking little call center, you fuddo, huh? Parji, shut your mouth, you little pussy. I bet he's Pakistani, you little cunt. Look at this calling him. I constantly go back to your call center, Parjit. They will shit on your face as well when you
Yeah,
go
he's
down there.
been talking
Call
shit
us,
the whole time.
probably
Yeah,
call us street shit, isn't it? We're gonna shit in your mouth, pussy.
yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a good conversation overall. It was a little bit heated in the beginning, right? But look, I tried to keep my calm and just make sure that I don't want people to think that we're like me as somebody that wants to look. One thing I don't understand is like if you, as an adult, right, and you're on a panel about RSS and stuff, and you're saying you're not a fascist, right? Why can you then not hold hey someone else's view? One of the things I said when I jumped on the kind of definition of fascism is that they cannot tolerate other people's views, right? And any dissenting views need to be shut down. Now, what that guy was doing was exactly what I was describing after, remember?
Mm,
Right? He couldn't listen to what I was saying.
yeah.
Even though we're on the internet and I have no real power, he was then to such a point that it was he had to leave in order for him to kind of like keep his senses around him. And that to me is a mindset of somebody that's intolerant, right?
See, like when I think of like platforming Khalistanis, like, oh, I'm platforming Khalistanis, you're not really the kind of person that comes to my mind. Like, I've met actual and listened to many actual Khalistanis. Like, there's a lot of them from Canada.
Yeah, calendar's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Calendar's
and
crazy.
Dude, I watched this movie called Biba Boys. Have you ever watched it? You
No,
gotta
no,
watch
no.
it. Yeah, it's about Sikh gangsters in Canada.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the problem is that a lot of the Khalistanis are actually out of India, right? And I have been told that in India that there isn't a massive Khalistani movement, and it's hard for me to judge because if you're saying you're a Khalistani in India, you could be arrested, right, and seen as an extremist. I mean, if you read Purple Effects, he said 3 weeks ago, India played Pakistan at cricket. A Sikh bowler dropped a catch. All the papers, TVs have vilified him hard, even calling him a Khalistani terrorist, right? So to be labeled a Khalistani in India is dangerous. So we don't really know 100% in India what the perception of Khalistan is to an average Sikh in India, right? Or Punjabi in
mhm,
India,
mhm.
because they're not allowed to openly talk about it without being arrested. I'm telling you, people have gone missing in their thousands over the last 30, 40 years for supporting Khalistan. They'll just be picked up and you'll never see them again, right? And they're normally picked up by Sikhs, policemen as well, which is even, I'm not saying Hindus in Punjab. So how do we know exactly what they truly believe? It's like in North Korea, right? They can't support South Korea because they could be rounded up, right?
Mhm.
So this I do know that in Canada, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not going to go on Clubhouse because the last thing I want to do is argue against Sikhs about Kurdistan because they're not going to like my views either, innit? My
Yeah,
views are a bit more nuanced, innit? I'm more of a so basically what they not only do they want India, the part in Punjab in India. What the Pakistanis don't realize, they want the Punjab in Pakistan as well.
mhm.
You know that? So you
Yeah,
know
yeah. I
Punjab
know that
part is in Pakistan. Yeah,
most
so
of
they
composed
want they want that
Palestine
side as well.
have.
Lahore, yeah, Lahore is in Pakistan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so they want the whole thing. And
So
so
how is that gonna happen? Like, so one of the questions I always ask and I never get an answer
mm,
is that are if Khalistan is majority Sikh,
mm.
are the minorities going to are you going to have a citizen exchange or are they going to stay or what? Like,
yeah, I mean, under Sikhi, we don't really have a. It's not going to be like an Islamic rule, right? Where you have this kind of like second class citizenship and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Sikhi is quite in line with the Dharma in it, so
so
it's
you
not.
just want top positions in the democratic government.
Well, for me, this is why I don't believe that running it according to theocracy is going to work, right? In today's age, I think a democracy, a secular democracy, with an undertone of like with the Sikh belief being kind of like the UK
Mhm,
where you have like the Church of England and stuff like that, or you have like Sikh as the kind of the foundation of the nation state, right? But it's not going to be dictating that policies and stuff, right?
mhm,
And the country could be run by anyone, whether it's a Sikh, Hindu, Muslim. So I'm more of a Punjab separatist, where I believe it should be not be run, of course, theocracies, which is why I'm a little bit different from the other guys, and that everybody within that. Look, it might be a pipe dream, right? That's what Indira Gandhi people probably thought to Mahatma Gandhi that getting the British out was a pipe dream, right, Pussyo? What about when Maharaja Ranjit Singh? You understand that in the 1750s, the Sikhs. Let me just explain something. In 1750, right? Yeah. And just share my screen for one second. It's nothing controversial. Don't worry.
mhm.
Let me just show you because when people say things are pipe dreams, right? It's only pipe dreams of people with small minds, right? You just share the screen, right? So obviously these are my thingy. So if you look at the seagull, now let me just give you a bit of history. Yeah. See this drawing I've done here. This was set in 1757. At
Mhm.
this time, the Sikhs were being genocided, and the Golden Temple here in the background burning was being raided by the Afghans who put cow carcasses in the Golden Temple and tried to destroy it, right?
Mm.
Individual called Baba Deep Singh come out of retirement in his 80s and he fought them and he pushed them back. Within 50 years of that atrocity where the Sikhs were nearly genocided, Maharaja Ranjit Singh ended up not only conquering the Punjab, all the way up to Kashmir, all the way up to Afghanistan, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you would have said to him, it's a pipe dream, right, pussy? It's not. It's only a pipe dream if you got no dutte, right? If you got no balls. Now it can be accomplished. People have done great things. Yeah, if the right people are there to put things into place, right? You can't do it because you're a pussy, right? That's why you're thinking small because you think that because you can't do it, no one else can do it. It is a possibility that it could happen, right? Do I think that it needs to happen under the way that Khalistanis want it to happen? I think it would be detrimental, in my opinion. I think it needs to be run in a secular democracy, and I would also accept the United States of India, right?
Mm-hmm.
where you have Punjab as a country and you have the other places, countries as well, like Gujarat and stuff like that. And then you have a united India under that kind of concept. I'd accept that. United India and, Punjab is just a nation under that, not being part of thingy,
I
Pakistan,
mean,
etc.
ultimately, I guess it's up to the people on the ground over there who vote, you know, for stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That it's hard for me to judge because I haven't been on
yeah.
the ground. I'm planning to go at some point, and it will also be hard for. I don't want to put people in difficult situations, right, where you ask them questions about Khalistan and then they thingy. So it'd be nice. I mean, they're doing referendums, right, all over the place at the moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they did them in the UK. I voted as well and stuff like that. So outside of India, it's very popular, but inside India, I don't know. I don't know. Also, Gen 1. Anyway, how you been
Yeah.
otherwise, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just, same thing, working. That's about it.
Yeah, if you're doing a conversation with these guys again, I mean, it'd be interesting to kind of chat to them again, man. I'm going to try and find out a bit more about the Leicester thing. I'm trying to keep an open mind, right? I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
say the Muslims are at fault or say the Hindus are at fault. I have to look. The problem is, yeah, if you have two people, let me just give you an example. You have two people, right? One of the people is known for being a good citizen who pays his taxes on time, who
Mm-hmm.
is never late, who always is courteous and stuff like that, and you never have no problems with him, right? And then you have another citizen who is known to be rowdy, causes problems, and sometimes gets arrested and all that. And then all of a sudden, you hear that this nice individual is misbehaving, right? Look at me, hold on a second. That's a bit out of character, isn't it? Why is he misbehaving for? Like, what has happened to him for to misbehave, right? And I'm kind of looking at that in the Hindu community. Like, I'm trying to think to myself, what has happened for you to then get to the point where you're now going on the street doing this? Because in the UK, Jen, then I've never seen I'm not dissing Hindus. I'm talking about in the UK. I've never seen a Hindu apart from maybe one, and he was a Hindu Punjabi, who is kind of aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very
You know
passive
what's
people.
crazy is that do you ever watch, is it Sham Sharma, or do you ever watch, I think it was on his, maybe, I don't know, I've been watching a lot of like different shows, but they showed the percentages of people in UK prisons by religion, and in the UK there was like 1,030 something Buddhists in prison, and there was like 200 or something Hindus, and there's like 10,000 of
Oh, God.
the
Yeah, but you have to also look at the like I showed with the rich list,
what,
didn't it?
I didn't
Like,
know there was that many Buddhists in England.
what are they doing in prison? What are Buddhists doing in
What
prison?
are they doing in there? What is
Yeah,
happening?
but the thing is, like, the I've never had problems with Hindus, right? Like, I've known a lot of Hindus.
Who
I've
in the
never had no
UK
issues with them.
has?
They even know. They even, like I said before, my older sister's best friend was Hindu, yeah, and they still are. And she used to come around my house all the time with the family and stuff. And even during 1984, June 1984, June when it was happening, I remember it happening. So I was maybe like 9 years old. I remember them coming around. There's a little bit of tension, but there was no mass problems between Hindus and Sikhs, even during that time. Yeah, because we understood that the Hindus as people are not responsible for XYZ of the country, right? Whatever the government was doing. And so there hasn't been no tension between Sikhs, but there has been massive tensions and fights and full-on street wars during the 80s and 90s between Sikhs and Pakistanis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you know in the 2000s? Let me just show you a. Did you know in the 2000s there was a massive riots in the north of England? Guess who with?
Sikhs and
No, Jamaicans and Pakistanis.
oh shit.
Yeah. So what's the common denominator?
That's what I'm saying, and I think like it's just when I see these videos like Muhammad Hijab and his other idiot, and they're just saying all this stupid shit, and like now he's trying to cover up for it. Did you see the video of his? Oh yeah, you played it, of his own
Yeah.
people telling him to shut up. Like he's
Yeah.
obviously making things worse.
I
They're
mean, it's
obviously
so. I mean,
trying to push a narrative. Like all these idiots on the ground are saying stuff like these thugs and this and that and blah blah blah. Like it's just so, to me it
no,
seems obvious of what's happening.
no, what's happening is, look, if you look at this year, 2005 Birmingham riots, this went on for days, right? 3 people died. It was like until look, the majority of the Asian population, the lost area, Pakistani, the black population, predominantly Caribbean. Yeah, the animosity that preceded the writing to have been largely based on local economic rivalry. So there's problem, yeah, between thingy, yeah. Now there's also, if you look at Pakistanis versus Sikhs, right? Let me just see if they got the thingy. It's not over here, but in I've got loads of old thingies. Let me write UK. But in the 80s and the 90s, there was massive problems. Yeah, there was massive problems. I don't know if it's even here. Oh yeah, look here it is. Look. The Independent 2002, right? Between oh god. Yeah, and so a spate of Asian community has increased fears that tensions. You saw the Sikh and thingy, but I can't actually. So basically, in the thingy, so you have to kind of like judge a person by not you don't judge them, but you have to kind of take people's past behavior into account and then judge whether it's consistent with what they've done before, right? And the Pakistani community in the north have a terrible reputation, and the Hindu community don't. But that doesn't mean the Hindu community were not wrong in this. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Even once, they might be right in it. You understand?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. They beat one person up and get called fascist, like ridiculous shit for it. When how many?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that what if on this one occasion, even though the majority of the time in the past it's been the Pakistani community aggravating other communities, maybe what if this time in the past, in this particular occasions, they were the ones being attacked, right? And I haven't seen that evidence. I'm just trying to keep an open mind as to what is going on there. I have not seen the evidence, and from my past experience, I can't imagine Hindus going around beating people up. It's just not in their nature, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. And like, after how much provocation in the last couple of days, and then there's kids too. There's Hindu boys too,
Yeah, but do you understand that? The guy that got beaten up during the cricket match, he wasn't a Muslim; he was a Sikh.
Yeah.
So I was trying to explain that. Look, they didn't beat him up because he was Sikh, right? He went into where people are kind of like celebrating and they're probably drunk and stuff, and then grabbed the flag and started stomping on it, right? And then they beat him up. Now I disagree with that 100%. But what's happening is now people are trying to spin it that they beat him up because he was Sikh, right? And that wasn't the reason. They beat him up because he stamped on a flag. And Pakistanis would have done the same thing if the same guy walked into a Pakistani area had done it, right? So
I think anybody probably would have done it, like Italians would have done it.
So, but this is the problem. What I'm a little bit concerned about is that Sikhs are kind of being dragged into this, right? Into this kind of like melee on the UK Hindu community, right? And certain people are trying to manipulate the situation. Oh, look what they did to you in 1984, because they know that situation is very, very traumatic for Sikhs, right? Like very traumatic, because we haven't got the real justice for it. So they understand how to push the buttons, right? Okay, we're going to talk about 1984. We're going to talk about Khalistan, because once I start mentioning Khalistan and all of this kind of stuff, you know that you're going to get them on their side. But in reality, they don't give a shit about Khalistan or 1984.
No,
they don't care. They don't care. They don't care that the Golden Temple was attacked. They don't give a shit. What they're doing is trying to rile people up in it and get them onto their side. I'm not saying all. Some people probably do. But a lot of people I've spoken to, you know what they do when I was in Speaker's Corner to get me on this side? Oh, Raj, look what India done to thingy, and look what this. I say, oh yeah, I agree. India's a basket case. So is your country a basket case? Yeah, they're both. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'll try and get some more update when I can, and then if I hear any kind of, if you can send me some evidence, man, on either side of thingy. Try and give me some. I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm talking about evidence, right? There's a lot of hearsay going on.
I want to find that out too. Like, I want to find out dates of shit, like when this happened and when that happened.
Because the problem, one of the things I've heard is that they started chucking eggs at a festival, right? Yeah. And the problem is, like, I can imagine them doing that. Yeah, because you know what they used to do to Sikh events. Yeah, they used to go to, like, so imagine you have a Sikh event, right? And it would have, like, we'd have this festival, these festivals doing Vaisakhi and Diwali, and so it would be like in a park, right? And so everybody's welcome, but what they would do, they would come in with gari, the bracelets, and pretend to be Sikhs, right?
Mm.
And then they'll start chatting up Sikh girls during these religious festivals. Yeah, not and the Sikh girls don't know they think they're Sikh, innit? Now, if you want to chat girls up, yeah, do it, innit? It's none of my business, but don't do it during a religious festival. Don't pretend to be Sikh to do it. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, they even did it to me. Remember when that guy come to my gurdwara?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, and they were live streaming, they were laughing and all that kind of stuff. Like I was like, wow, that's insane, innit? And in fact, so it's not beyond what
Yeah.
I think they might do, right? Because I've seen them do it to other people, including myself. So maybe they did it. And if the Hindus have to defend themselves, well, I'm not a pacifist, innit? Like you have to defend yourself at some point if people are violating your community and stuff. Do you know anyone from Leicester by any chance on thingy on the?
I had a friend up there, but I haven't talked to him in years. It's like just someone from like PlayStation, but nothing, like.
I'm talking about in a clubhouse. If there's anyone there.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of people from there speaking. Yeah.
Oh, Leicester Hindus as well.
Yeah. Oh
What
yeah.
is it? What is their story then? What have they been saying?
If you got to look up this guy. His name is. I'll
Send me a
send.
link so I can check on there because I
Yeah,
don't really want. I'll be honest, I don't want to go on Clubhouse. I don't want to get caught up in that madhouse, man. It looks like a madhouse to me.
it is. It
I,
is.
I don't. I don't need that. I'm trying to concentrate on what I need to do, and I don't want to get distracted by it. And especially with Khalistanis, I'm a Khalistani light in it, so
Yeah.
sometimes I annoy them as well in it. So I kind of I'm trying to be pragmatic in it. Like, look, dude, I've done Bindrawala's portrait, right?
I know. That's why I
I've
was
done
like,
his portrait,
don't
dude.
show that one,
Like
please. Don't show that.
I don't. Do you know how long it took me to do that portrait? Because my mum wouldn't let me do it.
Mm.
Yeah, and mum could say, "No, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it." It took me 2 years because I do believe that Bindrawala, I know it's going to be controversial, is misunderstood, right? Even by some Sikhs, and I don't think, I don't agree with everything he done, but he had some freaking real valid points that are even coming to fruition today about the drug problem in Punjab, the fact that the Punjab is basically the water and stuff like this, and a lot of things he spoke about during that time, is coming to fruition, right? And the Punjab is now like a basket case for drug problems, and he was one of the people that was warning against it. And the water situation is diabolical there as well. So he wasn't. Not everything he was saying or doing was what's being portrayed in it. So you have to keep an open mind, man. I know some of the Hindu guys see him as a terrorist and stuff like that, but I don't. They say one person's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference between me, I can critique Pindrawala, right? Whereas some other people don't want to critique. Like I can say, okay, I think he did this wrong. I think he should have done that, because no one's perfect, in it. Like everybody should be able to be critiqued, right? I don't have to agree with everything, but some people are quite fun. Let's just say a little bit hardcore in it, and if you say anything, they get upset. That's why I don't want to go into that thing, because I'll get myself in the shit as well, man. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
gonna shoot anyway, Jen.
Yeah. I'm gonna shut it down. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
sorry, sorry for taking over, man. But the thing is, I know I always take over, but the thing is, I've always wanted to talk to RSS BJP guys, innit?
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk to them.
I know. Hopefully they'll understand and
No, those two guys are fine.
contact. Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah, I mean the other guy, the other dude, I just think he proved what I was saying to be true, right?
I don't
When
know.
I said one of the I said, but listen, when I said one of the kind of like traits of a fascist, fascism is that they
being
cannot hear
intolerant.
other people's views, right? And when they
Yeah.
hear them, they want to shut them down. He done exactly that. He said he can't even sit in the same room as me because he believes I'm a Khalistani, right? He didn't even understand my viewpoints, even though it was very reasonable, right? I didn't say anything rude to him or try and thingy or until he was being disrespectful to me. So, in my opinion, that particular individual, he needs to understand that. Look,
And
just because
that's the
somebody,
thing, like I want to hear their view. Like
yeah, and I want to hear it as well. I want to
views.
talk to him,
I
innit?
listen to your views. I listen to lefty Hindu views that hate BJP, that think like,
Yeah.
they're all about the Congress Party and this and that. And it's like, you listen to like Indian Muslims who support the BJP and who didn't want to go to Pakistan because they knew it was going to be shit. I've listened to hardcore Khalistanis. I've listened to I don't know what to call them, but I guess pro India Sikhs. Like I listen to so many different people's
I
point
mean,
of view.
Raindrop is a pro. Remember Raindrop? He was a pro.
Yeah, and everybody hated him.
I
Like,
think Hakita Day is he? I think he's a pro India, isn't he? Or he's
I,
pro Dharma.
I think he he doesn't want any beef anywhere in the world. Not a cow, like like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, you're never going to be able to learn anything if you can't talk to your opposition, right? As soon as I jumped on, he asked me one question: "Are you a Khalistani?" Right? And so, just because he knew I was a
I was
Sikh,
like,
then he saw the
man.
gun, right? He saw the gun, and already he's triggered that, thinking that I'm somebody that's some sort of Khalistani kind of fundamentalist, right? And so automatically, everything he's saying that we shouldn't do against Hindus and the RS and the BJP, he did against me.
Oh shit.
Right? Don't generalize. Don't accuse them. Thinking so. On the one hand, he's saying you shouldn't be brandishing the whole of the RSS BJP as extremists, but he then branded, as soon as I said I support a separate state, that I'm basically a terrorist and I cannot be spoken to, right? No negotiation. And so I'm sorry, he must be, in my opinion, pretty hardcore down that route. Now the other two guys seemed reasonable, right? They had a very, very different viewpoint to me, and managed to sort of argue, give their point of view, and some of the points are pretty valid, right? And I'll listen to some of the points, and I'll look back. I don't work, but when people are aggressive to me, I go the opposite, innit? Now, if you're polite to me, this is what I said. The one person that kind of reasoned with me was Shamsi, right? Because everybody else was aggressive to me, and he was the only one that come up to me politely and said, "Raj, let me talk to you," right? And we had a good conversation, right? And I took on board what you had to say, even though I didn't agree with it and all that kind of stuff. So with people like this, I mean, what can you do, man? Like you have to. How can you live with somebody that can't even talk to somebody with an opposing view? If he's doing this on the internet, what is he doing in real life?
I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
No, I've never seen that side of
like, I know you've never seen that side of him. Maybe it was good that I showed that side of him, because if he's coming across and he's trying to tell you he's got this world view that live and let live, right? But when I've got a different view to him, not only can he not sit on the same panel, he accuses me of
I
being
know. I get.
right?
I know. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to come back on another conversation, I don't mind in it. I don't mind conversating. We can start again in it in the future, and we'll have a chit chat, man. So we'll see. Anyway, Jen, big up to everybody else, anyway, man, and take care, man. I'm off, man.
All right, take care.
Are you leaving this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, take care. Can I put this on my channel, some of it? I'll edit it.
Yes, Raj. Yeah, go for
Oh,
it.
thank you. I didn't come on there for that. I'm actually not even trying to.
Are you gonna exploit like the beef part of it?
I'll probably take that. I'll probably take that out, and I'll probably just go for the part where
Yeah.
the Hindus have got enough problems as it is, isn't it?
I know.
I don't need to add the extra salt on the wound, innit? Like, let me leave that for another conversation. I'm talking about the conversation I had, the later part of it with the two other guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, take care, man. Big up to everybody. Anything. Take care.
All right. Bye. Oh my goodness, what a stream. Well, thanks guys for coming through. This is a tough one. I feel terrible. I see both sides of things, and who am I to take a stance on like overseas politics? Like I don't know the inner and outworks of Khalistan and all of the political aspects and social aspects of it, but oh well, I definitely didn't mean to piss off any people, so I apologize. But yeah, good guests. Respect to everyone. I hope that everything will just chill out, honestly. All right.